Is that yours?
Oh god, hello.
That's a fucking shame.
And welcome to the Rat Project.
Just the emptiness in your face. You just look.
So, on my way home, I knew I was going to be late, and I considered, like, you sent that first message saying if we were going to do pizza tonight and that, and I was like, I almost wanted to put in chat, like, I'm going to have like 20 minutes spare to reorganise everything and get this ready, and I swear to God, if you guys are in a fucking mood, just don't bother coming.
You should have said that.
And I was so close to sending it, but I'm like, nah, it'll be fine. But then Tim shows up.
Well, it's not really a question at that point, is it?
Isn't it always Tim that's in the mood?
Welcome back to the Rat Project. I am Johnny, otherwise known as Bishop AU.
That's what happens when you have a girlfriend like John. You're fucking mental.
What even was that about?
I don't know. You guys a lot. Tim was always fucking.
So,
Continue.
eventually I'm going to move on with this introduction if I stop getting interrupted and pens stop being thrown at each other across the table.
Hey, that wasn't me.
Shut up! Jeez! So, welcome back to the very professional Rat Project Dungeons and Dragons stream here on twitch.tv/Bishop AU. I nearly said tilted too good.
That would have been the best. I would have actually cried.
If you're watching on the VOD on YouTube, thank you for checking it out.
That would have been the best singer ever.
Alright, we do have a couple of quick announcements. Well, not really announcements, but things. So everyone's a little bit jittery and a little bit excited because this is, for a few of us at least, the beginning of PAX weekend, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
We got lots of stuff that we're going to be doing and fun things to be do. Except for Tim, because he's a fucking twat.
It's not the coach.
But anyway, so that's one thing.
Probably.
So we are going to have... no, it's just the internet being trash. Yeah, it's
I didn't know Scott provided internet service.
let me change this to be like 160.
And then I put
That wasn't funny.
At least we made it to work.
So, what else? I had a whole bunch of things to talk about, and I've forgotten them because this intro's been going for like 10 minutes already.
Diablo, Magic.
Yes, so, over on our YouTube channel, which doesn't have a custom URL because we suck.
But there's some cool art.
Shut up! Jeez!
You do you, I'll do me.
really not getting it.
Yeah, but you is talking. Yes, over on our YouTube channel there is a series for Diablo 2 running at the moment, which is a really cool retro RPG, which Tim and I are doing, and it is really good. It's a very low edited budget kind of production, but it's just us. It's more of a podcast than anything. It's us shooting the shit while we play through a game that we really love. So if you want to check that out, please do head over. Next, in terms of new things, we also today have a brand new Instagram account, which is called just The Rat Project. You can find it. Basically, this is more just for me to stop posting gaming-related stuff on my personal Instagram and move it over to a more dedicated gaming type thing. So, yeah, if you want to follow that Instagram, there's some cool stuff on there. Well, there's some stuff on there now. There will be more cool stuff going up there in future. What else? Discord, you can put !Discord, or there's a link up above if you're on YouTube. Sam Green recently did us a new logo and has some new artwork for us, which looks pretty cool. Some pretty fucking cool stuff. So we've got it for logos and stuff. I don't think we have any example of it that I can pull up on screen or anything, but you'll probably see it floating around in the near future. What else? Yes, so we have delved into Magic the Gathering. Now, Tim and I spent about 5 hours over the weekend recording and organising a whole bunch of...
Driving around getting
a whole bunch of Magic the Gathering content. This all is for naught because it was all fucked up by our new cameras. But
can you do like a highlights reel at least?
not really. It's kind of complicated. But anyway, look, we're still going to do more Magic the Gathering stuff. So if you're into Magic the Gathering, we're absolutely going to put out some more of that. So check that out on the YouTube channel. And if it goes well, we might, or like if we have the option to, we might even stream some games or something. But yes, Tim. I like that you didn't just start talking over the top of me. That's good.
I'll just raise my hand from now.
Yes, good.
Alright, cool.
What would you like?
What are we learning in class today? No. Do you want to go halves in a booster box?
Let me introduce these fuckwits that keep talking over me.
Hey, to be fair, it's just him.
It's not a fuckwit.
Okay, one more thing before we move on as well. My camera is being a little shit and being super duper laggy, and it may... What is that? Oh, it's the map cam.
Is that the way of your cam?
No, I was just confused why I could like see myself doing things, but anyway.
That's what your cam's meant to do.
It's fine. Anyway, so my camera may freeze if it keeps being a shit, but anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. Tim.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Lockie, Jordan, Scott. Tim's not going to be here after this week, so I'm going to fucking murder him on the way home. So.
Yes, it's paid off.
Right. I think all in all, that's all I wanted to... There was a whole heap of... Like, this is the 1 week where I actually had a bunch of stuff that I wanted to, like, put at the start of the episode, and Tim just ruined it all, so...
Should have wrote it down.
I knew what I had to say, I just didn't get a chance to say it! Last week... Previously on. Previously, the party arrived in a new land, Tolculla, a small isle far to the south of many of the more prominent lands, and arrived via boat into a sleepy portside merchant town, and quickly found travel across to the old capital of the isle that they're on. And quickly made their way around town, got a bit of a feel for the place, met some locals, and being a little bit short on cash, decided to find some work. Now, he took on work in the form of tracking down some individuals who a friend of theirs was worried that they might be in danger. Upon doing so, you found that some form of bandits had taken over the house where you were told to look for these people. Upon dispatching them and rummaging through their remains, or the house, I should say, you found nothing too out of the ordinary. You did find a bunch of crates that the bandits were unloading, which belonged to a certain trading company. And then after some searching... After some searching, managed to find that the house had a basement in which you found a locked chest. And upon picking it open, found a bunch of artifacts and quite nice weapons and clothing. On top of that, you also found a young girl. Which I've probably... So I bought a new book and I've probably lost half of my notes. But anyway, I'll see if I can find them.
To scare.
Not the worst thing that happened to it. Their parents got killed.
Deciding to take...
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Deciding to take the girl with you, headed back to Calavan, where you know elves are not welcome, this child being elvenkind. You decided 2 of you would wait outside while the other 2 went and spoke with your employer. She informed you that you'd be doing a great service if you could take her to a nearby town called Dallas. And it was about here, getting towards the mid-afternoon outside of Calavan, where you reunited and were just about to decide on what your next move will be. So, I will leave it up to you guys what you would like to do while I very quickly find my new notebook. That I left somewhere.
I feel like we should probably go to Dallas.
No.
I feel like that's a good choice.
Texans are racist.
So are you.
They can't be any more racist than the people in the city.
True. Struth.
Fuck, I wish I knew. What? I wish my character knew what I know.
What?
I read your
Didn't know
character
nothing.
sheet.
It's fine, what do you mean?
Is he homosexual?
Nah. Oh, I don't know actually. I didn't read that much.
Oh.
Yeah, you'll better not be metagaming through the
Yeah.
fucking D&D Beyond.
Snooping on characters.
No, I sent him mine so that he could know like how to structure. He didn't know what to write
Yeah.
for his backstory.
Because I started doing the backstory, I'm like, oh fuck, I don't know what to do for this.
Just write your life story.
Now, can I be the worst DM and ask what the girl's name was?
Celsi.
Celsi.
I was about to say Sylvia, but thank you for
It's
getting
actually
it right.
Silsey.
Silsey. Thanks, Honky. Excellent.
Whoa!
What?
You can't say that!
Really?
You do know that's a term.
No, I don't.
Plus side is it's a term for white people though, right?
Is that?
Still racist? Haven't you ever heard yo, you honky?
I've never heard that term before.
Well, you have now.
Whoops.
So, we're using those kind of terms up.
So the next person who uses a racist term has to leave.
Oh, yeah, you're banned from the stream.
In that case, you'd be out of here fucking months ago.
We'll leave these two and we'll start our own stream.
Blackjack and hookers.
Anyway,
And racial slurs.
the difference is if I get me banned, I get me banned. I don't want to be banned because of you.
You haven't, have you, though?
The
Fucking
best part is
surprising,
how accidental it was. Like, you just had no idea.
I've never heard that term. I refuse to believe that that's a racist term. I've never heard that before.
Would all of
Anyway,
us be giving that reaction?
well, no, but you're all fucking lunatics, so I mean, I don't believe half the things you say.
Scott's the most fucking sane one here right now. Then he laughed at it.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You're not up
Yeah, no.
Okay. Bringing it back to the game. What would you like to do?
What's that map?
Dallas.
I just need a second.
God, my camera is so fucking laggy. So bad.
I really just need a second.
Just dropping out H word. Should make a YouTube video about it.
I've never fucking enough. That all right.
He stopped him.
Move on.
Just watch it go.
So we were gonna go around the city, correct?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
Just stop talking to me for a second.
Oh, also.
There's a map.
You're going to Dallas.
Yeah, which is the unnamed one.
It's north.
Where are we? Fuck, if we follow the coastline, we'll get there.
Yeah. So you are.
Yeah.
It's actually the way I'd go about it.
Or just follow the road.
We don't know which, like,
The map doesn't have roads.
doesn't have roads, so we had to
Yeah,
go to the
surely they've got
coastline.
roads.
Yeah.
You go north.
Well,
Either one's gonna hit it.
regardless, we should get to the north side of Caravan first, right?
Yeah, probably.
So currently, we left last week. Basically, you'd regrouped just outside the south gate of the city.
Yeah.
So you're about. Yeah, you're a few hundred feet out from the city. You can still make out the guards who are sort of meandering around the gate. Not really patrolling, but just staying around the gate itself. But yeah,
How big was the city where we were? Like,
if you were to like walk around it, you
Yeah.
mean? It wouldn't take that long. Calavan, even though it's the capital, it's not necessarily that large. you'd probably, if you were to circle around it, might take 20 minutes, half an hour kind of walk. It wouldn't take that long.
It's not too bad, man.
It's a very sort of condensed city. It's very much built with the same kind of defensibility that you see built in castles. Basically, everything's been built quite small and quite condensed to keep it within the confines of the walls, essentially.
Yeah, let's start heading around then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we just want to follow the path like you said?
Is there a path that leads around the city, or does the path?
Yeah. So
should not go
surrounding
through
the
the
city,
city.
surrounding the city itself are various like crop fields and farmlands. There's also like a graveyard out to one side, which I actually had a map for you guys. I can pull up the map real quick. This will give you a much better.
Once we get to the other side,
Yeah.
it'll probably be cool.
This will give you a much better understanding.
No,
of
guess
what
the
we're
viewers.
talking about.
Pornhub sponsorship. Here
Oh,
we go.
no. Joking,
Here.
It's so awful.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
No, did you hear?
I heard part of what you said.
Do you know how bad it looks when you did that?
Yeah.
Okay, you're all the worst, but that is Calavan.
Oh shit! Did you actually draw this?
No.
It's copyrighted.
It's not copyrighted.
Lockie could have drawn that. If
So I was going to print this out, but I forgot. So you'll have to make do with a digital copy
Oh,
today.
we're leaving anyway. So.
So you're drawing the city up for like an episode and a half worth of shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost the capital. It's almost like you'll
it's
probably
gonna
be coming
the
back
hub when we
here.
come back.
So we're at the south gate.
Yeah.
South is that way. So are we at that gate or that gate?
You're down. So you're down here. So
Okay.
basically, when you arrived, you came in through this gate. When you left, you've gone back out this way towards the south, out to the homestead you went to, and then you've returned back up this way. So there's various farmlands that out towards where you are. There's some farmland and a graveyard. Where you can see out towards the graveyard, there's a single house which is left out on a crossroads essentially. And then further you go around, there's more and more cropland towards the northern side of the city.
Are there any signs?
Not where you are.
No, but like on like.
You've seen previously the signs
Yeah.
at various at sort of main junctions and that
saying,
sort of
like,
thing.
Head this way for.
Yeah, you've seen simple signs that basically, when you were coming across, you would have noticed there's a couple of signs that just have a simple board. Some of them seem to be official, like they've been erected in like a uniform type sign. Others that looks like people have just nailed a random board to the side and etched Calavan in the side. But yeah, you've seen there's various markers that indicate sort of major settlements and this kind of thing.
Or not. We should head to Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah. Head start heading up.
They could have drawn the map the other way around, so at least north was up.
Hmm?
Could have drawn the city the other way
Mm,
around.
yeah, maybe. It's almost like it was drawn without me giving too much information, and then I was just like, okay, what way is it? I had to orientate it to the island.
So
So
you said you didn't draw it.
I didn't draw it. Moving on. So you start making your way around, using some of the roads that track between the farmlands and head around towards the northern side. You cross over the main road, which heads out towards the east, where you first came through, recognizing the gate, and you continue along, sort of just keeping a distance from the walls a little bit, sort of just maintaining that distance out of fear that Silsi might get spotted. Who's carrying? Is she walking? Is somebody carrying her?
Probably walking.
I assume that I'm still giving her a piggyback ride.
Oh yeah, I forget you were doing that.
Yeah, that's what was happening last time. So okay.
Doesn't matter if she gets stolen.
Oh, that's right. I'm holding your sword. That can fuck me up.
Maybe
Um,
trip on it.
Okay, so you make your way around,
Probably is.
and as you come around towards the north gate, where you haven't been previously, but you can see, along with the main docks that you saw inside the city, the city walls come around and sort of breach out into the water a little bit to sort of prevent anyone skirting around the wall. But you can see there's these makeshift docks that sort of extend out past the castle walls or the city walls as well. And you can see there's some small boats and sort of like rowboats and that sort of thing. No large vessels, but there's a few tied up here. But you can see the road that heads north is pretty well kept. It's very worn and reasonably well maintained. But you're heading north, heading out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just follow the road, I assume.
Is it just open land or is there like trees and shit?
Yeah, it's pretty much open for now. And you could probably see from here up ahead, you can see a small stone bridge, it's quite a sizable bridge. Looks like it's probably 3 carts wide-ish, because there is a river just to the north of the city.
Will like the coastline be always like pretty well in our view?
It looks like it for now. Looks like the road pretty much follows the coastline, but it could divert further up. Not sure.
Do we want to go further away from the city just in case we run into 10 guards?
I wouldn't venture much outside the city.
Yeah, they'd be there to protect the city, and that's really it, wouldn't they?
Haven't there been patrolling guards around the city?
There is at the gates where the roads run in, there is occasionally like 2 guards that'll wander out maybe 100 feet or so and then return back. They don't seem to patrol too much outside the city.
Worst case, it's 2 of them. There's 4 of us.
No, I thought there were on
5 of us.
I
don't think she can fly.
I don't want to get in a fight.
She's gonna have to.
Just not
You should not go near her.
I'll just use her jet probably. Orange khaki.
Cool, let's go.
This is worst case, though.
Okay, so you're heading out.
Worst case.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is about mid-afternoon as you start heading along this road, and quickly you come to this stone bridge that we were just talking about, and you can see it's
Oh my.
In fact,
it's about 3 carts wide. It looks like this was probably a well-travelled road previously. Whether it still is or not remains to be seen, but you continue over this and make your way along, and after maybe an hour or so of travel, you can see the road does begin to defer further away from the coast, and you can see there are some... What?
I do -1 damage on my spear. On my Eucla. So I got 8 strength. So if I roll 1, I can do 0 damage.
Nice.
So it breaks away from the coastline a little and continues up, and you can see as the road continues that the trees do begin to become more and more dense before it sort of turns into a spotted forest up ahead. And it's probably getting on, by the time you estimate by the time you reach the forest, it'd probably be getting towards 6-7 p.m. But yeah, you can press on if you'd like.
Do we want to go through the forest or around the coast? This is very much a group decision.
I reckon we're just getting that later, we should stop next.
Whatever endangers the child more.
I'm gonna disregard her.
Makes it easy then, so you guys. I can't be done. If you just go on my feet.
I felt like she was getting a vote.
Just give.
And it's her we have to protect.
Let's just set up camp.
Yeah.
Just travel through that.
Away from the road though.
Yeah.
Sure. Sounds like a good idea.
Okay, what are you doing?
Setting up camp.
Away from the road.
Okay, so you want to head towards the coast or away from it?
You reckon we should go towards?
I'll be trained on.
Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah, probably four skips.
Yeah, towards the coast. Okay.
Okay. So from where you are, you head out towards the coast a little until you sort of break line of sight with the road. And from here, like by the time you do that, you end up quite close to the coastline itself. You hear sort of the crashing waves rolling up against the shore. You take the time to find a little spot and set up your camping equipment, which for the most part is pretty basic stuff. Some of you, I think you have a bedroll. Most of you have a bedroll, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty primitive camp, but yeah, you find a bit of space and set up your bedroll. While you're sort of setting up your equipment, Kelsey sort of Silsey even just wanders around, looking a little bit lost, a little bit unsure, not quite sure what to do.
Anybody got a spare bedroll?
I don't think that I do.
Jeez, if only there was somebody that was a pretty good character that would give up their bedroll.
So
Don't do it.
as you're doing this, you can see she actually wanders down towards the coast. You can see there's a little bit of a beach. It's pretty rocky. It's not very nice, but there is a small beach down from where you are.
Why don't we just trade bedrolls when somebody's on watch?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Someone should also probably check on her.
As long as I don't have to sleep at night with this bedroll.
That's completely understandable. Shotty up. You're up.
I think we could just give it to the child, right?
No, but when we're on watch, we're just gonna swap it.
Yeah.
Samurais don't use bedrolls, it's okay.
It's like samurais don't use swords.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't exclusively use.
They don't exclusively use bedrolls.
Fair.
Okay. What are you doing for food? And you've got your water skins. Are you eating, or are you just heading straight to
Yeah.
bed?
Got rations?
Yeah, so I try and kill something with a longbow.
Yeah, you can go and do a bit of hunting, sure.
What?
What?
Alright, I was reckon you're gonna fuck up.
You sort of
2.0.
you head down, sort
not
of
a
further north along between the road and the coast. You can see there's some dotted trees up ahead. But you head up sort of towards that direction, and getting towards dusk, there's plenty of wildlife getting around. And it doesn't take you long before you see a large hare, sort of just not moving at any great pace, just nibbling along between the grass. But
Kill it.
yeah, you want to just take a shot? You want to just take a shot from here? Sure.
How far away am I?
Probably still about 200 feet.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oof.
Oof.
I was like, you spot one and you're like, I want to shoot.
Yeah, you're like, I'll kill it.
Do I have any way of attempting to fish?
I mean, you could spearfish.
I move with him.
Agatha's got a
150
spear.
feet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Make
that's my
a
fuck
stealth
speed.
roll for me.
It's my walking stick.
Yeah, 19.
Okay, sure. So you sort of get down low and move up.
Oh, I could have blown it up with an
Shit,
eldritch
I forgot
blast.
about that.
Sorry?
He's a piece of shit.
What?
Ask him what armor he's wearing.
Oh, what armor are you wearing?
Scale.
It's pretty noisy.
Good old
As if
disadvantage
you
on
want to take
stealth.
I forgot. I genuinely
That's all right.
forgot
Looks like
that
it's
I
a
was-
pretty good roll. Anyway, I'm just going to add scale to my little notes.
I
here.
actually forgot that I was wearing it.
I've got scale as well.
Okay.
I've got chainmail.
I've got scales.
That's just
Good to know. So you're all fucking
bad.
trash.
What are you
No,
eating?
I don't have disadvantage
What
on
do you
stealth.
eat?
I don't
Oh, so it's a
think.
chain shirt.
eating.
A robe. He's a
Chainmail and chain shirt are two different things.
Let me
We're
check.
talking about armor.
Yeah, I said,
What are you wearing?
I said I've got scales. I'm a tiefling.
I have scales.
yeah,
don't
but
I?
he doesn't wear any armor.
I've got leather. If that makes you feel better.
Thank you.
Why do you bother coming? I'm starting to wonder, like, honestly.
To make
Jeez.
your lives
Talk
hard.
shit to me.
17.
Stealth roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So you get down low and you move up and silently pull an arrow and knock it. And when you feel about close enough, you take a shot. So give me an attack roll.
Here we go. What is that? Was that a 1?
Yeah.
Oh, please fuck something up.
Focusing on watching where this hair's going, you sort of knock your arrow and you bring your bow up and you're just about to take the shot and you draw and release, but you notice that the arrow wasn't actually knocked to the string and you just get this boom.
Is it scared?
You just sort of embarrassingly look around to make sure nobody saw
Is it
that.
scared?
No, it didn't seem to hear that. Luckily,
I'm going to take another shot.
What do you mean another shot?
Really,
You
with
take a shot
that,
to begin
with
with.
that stealth
You don't
roll,
know
we
that,
were
you piece of
quite
shit.
enough.
Please one.
Not really good either.
Yeah, luckily all your passive perceptions are quite low this time. So
11?
yeah, okay, sure. We'll say an 11 because it was with that stealth roll you managed to get fairly close, and with that just meandering about eating some grass, you managed to you sort of wing it. You definitely don't kill it. It sort of springs up into the air as your arrow flies across and thuds into its hind, and it runs off, and you see it dart off into the forest a little bit, and you follow it up, and you manage to find it sort of stuck there, breathing heavily, but
Drive my longsword into a skull.
yeah, sure,
Please miss.
yeah, easy
Want me to
enough.
roll for that?
No, that's fine.
Roll anyway.
This
Stabs
poor
himself in the foot.
Which roll? You fucking missed it.
this poor hare that's been shot with an arrow. I think you can manage
And I'll
that.
take my arrow back.
Sure. But you pick up this. It's a fairly decent sized hare. Like it's definitely not a good feed, but you could all get something out of it.
But I stole a bag of apples. So
True.
have some food.
Yes.
Stole?
From the people that you killed.
No, that's not really stealing. They're dead. They don't need it.
So then technically those apples belong to me.
So grave robbing is not stealing?
Nah. It's just digging up buried treasure.
Okay. What's everyone else doing while he's off hunting hare?
Can I borrow your spear?
No.
No?
No.
You don't want any fish?
No.
It's Agatha not talking.
Huh?
That's not Agatha talking.
It's Patricia.
Okay, as this argument unfolds,
Do I arrive back?
yeah, Grunrick comes back with this hare that you can see its head is pretty badly mutilated, and it is bleeding profusely, but it's definitely dead.
You do know that some of the first signs of being a psychopath is torturing hurting animals.
Yeah, that's why you stuck it through there, to put it out of its misery. You didn't want to torture it, it's fine.
Sure. Good old green rock psychopath.
What? I'm just gonna watch it breathe while
You're
it
like, I
dies.
smashed its fucking head in.
It's not what I said.
Cool. I was going to talk about something, but I'll stay in game. It's fine. No, you're bad enough.
Start up a fire so we can cook the hare, I guess.
Okay. Easily done, because even if you don't have anything to light it, I'm sure Agatha would happily oblige.
You can light the kid on fire if you want.
So you'll spend the time gathering some wood and lighting a
Go
fire.
around this kid.
And you can see about by the time you get the fire going, Silsey returns back. You can see her feet are wet. She's obviously been walking around in the water a little bit. But she makes her way back over and sort of just sits down next to the fire as you start skinning the hare. And you divide out some meat, I'm assuming. Or are you just keeping it for yourself?
I'll divide it out.
But cool. So you all eat some questionably cooked hare.
Is there a survival check?
You can if you want.
Can we do that with all the tomb?
Sure. Whoever's cooking it, make a survival roll.
Come on.
Thanks to Tim, if you roll low enough, you're going to get food poisoning.
Cool. Nat 20 plus 4.
Okay, so it's actually
fucking
well cooked.
perfectly
Yeah,
cooked.
it's actually
That die
very
was
well
like
cooked.
8. 20.
Does that mean we get temporary hit points from really good food?
No.
You literally did that for no reason.
Oh, I tried.
We got some really good food out of it.
Their food's better than it would have been.
Feels slightly more filling.
Sure.
Feeds us for 4 days straight.
Along with a side of sliced apple. It's quite a nice meal. So,
Some weird combination.
after you've had something to eat, the sun is just cresting on the far side. So out into the water, you could see there's a small island that sort of runs parallel to the mainland that you're on now. And behind that, there is the sun cresting across the horizon. And as night falls, what do you want to do? You
I'll
just-
go and watch this and I'll put it to bed. To, sausage.
I'll just get in my bed.
Okay.
So who's in second watch?
I'll go second watch. I'll take that then. You're
That's
last.
it. What?
You're last.
I'll take one.
You
Okay. So give me a perception roll. And everybody else settles down and quickly nods off after a day of fighting and murdering
You
people.
rolled fucking shit, didn't ya?
I didn't really.
Did you roll twice?
Yeah, it was hot.
Ah,
8.
8. Okay.
Scott
Hey, my
perceives.
passive is 13.
Scott perceives fuck all.
Okay. Good to know. So, you spend the night sitting up and just keeping an eye out. The soft glow from the fire still burning away.
Feels like him.
But a little bit of time passes as you hear the waves crashing against the shore. But nothing out of the ordinary seems to catch your attention. Occasionally you hear a bit of a scutter and sort of having a focus look. You can see it's just some wildlife getting around, but nothing out of the ordinary. So your watch comes to an end and Grenrick takes over.
You're free
Yeah,
from
you-
the wall.
Perception.
Oh, yeah.
You did it. Ooh, yeah.
That's on something.
Ooh, yeah. 17.
Tagging in and keeping watch, you notice probably about halfway through your watch, you would hear in the distance some footsteps and sort of quiet speaking. And you can, from the direction it's coming from, you would assume it's on the road. But you hear as it sort of gets vaguely closer, but still seems to be following the path of the road. But you can hear sort of at the when you hear it get its loudest and probably the closest, you hear it suddenly go quiet, almost as if somebody has all of a sudden tried to be a bit more quiet. And you don't hear anything after that.
I keep listening. If I hear anything like within our vicinity,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna wake the closest one that can fight.
Yep. Okay.
Celsius.
That's
Sure.
why I specifically said that can fight.
Not very well, but
Okay. So given another hour or so, you don't hear anything come closer. You get the sense whoever it was either passing by and didn't want to draw attention to themselves, or they're just outside the camp waiting. But eventually your watch comes to an end.
I warn the next person. It's up to me.
Okay.
I heard voices and footsteps around the camp. Just being on.
It sound like they were leaving or staying?
Kind of just went silent out of nowhere.
I'll wake you if I need you then.
Sounds good.
Okay.
you're probably good on.
Um,
much.
So as you swap over and waking and coming onto your watch, you can see the fire's burning down quite a bit. It's up to you if you want to stoke it or let it burn out.
Well, let it burn out because people may be nearby, so.
Okay. No need for a perception as the rest of the night passes undisturbed. And Agatha,
Yes.
I mean, are you taking the final watch?
Sure.
Okay. So Agatha, being the last on watch, you see the sun begin to crack through the trees far off to the east, and everyone slowly comes to. And it is a fresh new morning, and the day is yours.
I pack up my bedroll. Ready to go, like straight away.
Jumps up, does some stretches.
Backflips.
Not today.
Not today.
Oh, one day.
You're up.
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
Good morning.
Go on.
10 decks.
I'll help you.
Fucking tough.
Okay.
Then do it.
So you gather up your things and head off.
Yes.
Okay. So you continue on north.
I'll hand Celsi an apple for breakfast.
Yeah, she takes it. Thanks. She seems to be a lot more conscious now after having some food and having some rest. Seems to be a little bit more bright-eyed.
And I also want to sort of keep my eye out for any like other fruit on any trees on the path. And
Sure.
Like that.
Should just start eating the branch.
So
Yeah.
Or not. What? Why not?
What are you?
you make your way along.
Fuck, bridge.
Are you heading back to the road, or are you avoiding the road?
The game.
I assume we're going back to the road, right?
Yeah.
Fuck, what's that?
We're like an over.
Okay. So you make your way back over and continue heading north, and very quickly you enter the forest, or the patchy forest that you avoided the night before. And you continue through this for around an hour or so, not noticing anything out of the ordinary, and unfortunately no fruits in here. But you make your way along, and as you sort of crest into an opening, you can see a road that diverts. The main road seems to continue straight ahead, and off to the left there's a smaller track, but you can actually see from here a small town. You can see some small plumes of smoke rising up out of the chimneys, and
Are there any signs?
there's not any here, unfortunately.
Does anyone have a compass?
No, but I have this magnet.
Yeah, shove it up your ass and you'll point in the right direction.
I feel like it'd just be survival going, but looking at the sun.
Yeah, let's try it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Do it.
Where are we?
22 so
Sure. Yeah, you're confident you're still heading north. The sun's still quite low in the east. You get the general idea that that's...
Oh, what are we looking at?
So we've got all that table over there.
So, comparing it to the map, you're not quite sure that this is the town that you're looking at on the map. I'll say with that survival roll, you're fairly confident it's not what's marked on the map. But it's potentially the right town. It matches the description. It doesn't match the location.
Well, she said it was north, and we can't miss it, so.
Well, should we go ask them if this is Dallas?
Yeah, but not all of us. We should
Yeah,
take a girl in there.
No, it was only the capital.
Yell out Dallas. See if anyone
Yeah,
else
no,
wants.
but just in case this isn't Dallas.
You wanna go?
They only said that only that city was like that.
Oh, Sam's here.
Yeah. But if it's like abandoned
plus
town,
yellow.
it's not a great place to take a child, is it?
Abandoned camps really aren't on the road, though.
Mate.
Do you want to just go ask them?
Can you fucking take that masking tape off? I'm having a fucking meltdown over here. It's so it's so uncomfortable to look, because every time I look at it, all I can imagine is like the hairs on your neck getting pulled.
You failed. You have to shave your eyebrow off.
I can breathe now.
Yeah, it looks so fucking uncomfortable.
It was.
All
Gee.
my senses. And then when I say, choke me, daddy, you won't go.
What is happening?
No,
Anyway,
Kim
sorry.
actually said that, and Jordan
That was-
actually did that.
That was my fault that time. By all means,
It's
continue.
good to be able to breathe.
You fucking failed.
By putting it on in the first place.
Yeah, do you want to come with me to see what this town is? You seem to have a way with people, and I don't really get it, but you seem to be able to talk to them pretty well.
And we also don't
Have you
really want to
seen
leave you
how
with
he's
the
been
kid.
talking
I've fucking seen a lot of shit in my years.
Yeah, but like he's not trying to convince the child to do something. And if we need a way out,
Remember that time I got that guard to escort us? It's not the only thing he escorted.
just has a weird way with people. It's so strange.
Scotty's character most.
Well, I'll follow you.
Good God. Okay, so what's happening? You two are heading in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do I have to fucking do everything?
Okay. While you guys sort of head off and start making your way in towards the town, what are you guys and Silsey doing?
Playing Pong.
Guess it's just the same.
Yeah, is there anything nearby that's like worth looking at? Or
Straight into the sun.
I mean, there's nothing that catches your immediate attention. There is quite a large tree that sort of felled, just an old rotted tree that seems to be fallen over. You sort of look around. That's sort of the only thing that catches your attention as potentially a place to sit down.
yeah, just sit down there then.
Yeah. But yeah, outside of that, there's not much else. So you guys make your way into this town, and you can see early in the morning there's not much happening. You can see there's a few people walking around carrying what appears to be troughs of laundry or similar things. A couple of guys are out moving firewood and chopping firewood, that kind of thing. But you can see there doesn't appear to be any sort of like blacksmith or anything that you would see in sort of the larger cities. It just seems to be a fairly quiet village. As you head in, you can see the road makes its way into the town, and there's a few buildings along the right side of the road before the town opens out to the left. You can see it's primarily a large open sort of courtyard, essentially, with just buildings surrounding the outside. And as you make your way into sort of the main courtyard, you can see directly across from you is a large building, which even from here you can make out in pretty old, worn timber is a sign that says orphanage across one side.
Found it. Let's go again.
Yep.
Orphanage.
Okay.
So Dallas anything?
Not that you can see.
Yep.
Where's the closest person?
There's somebody like walking up the street towards you.
Excuse me!
Yeah.
Are you just traveling through? What's this town called?
It's Dallas.
Thank you.
He sort of like backs up, slowly turns around, and just watching you the whole time, and just walks off. And you can see he gets to the corner of the first building, and then just ducks in and just disappears.
Well, yeah.
Good job.
Well,
Let's go get the rest of them.
yep.
Okay, so you're heading back.
Yeah.
Sure. As you keep an eye out and you watch them disappear into the town, and only 30 seconds later you see them re-emerge heading back out towards you. And about the same time, you would hear, coming from the north, the sound of a cart or a carriage coming along the road. But yeah, as it gets closer, you hear the rumble sort of turn into more distinct trollops. Trollops?
Quick, kid.
Hooves of
Coming in from the
horses.
north, we came in through the south.
They can still be coming from, well, going to Colombia. Good for them.
This is not even close.
Just hide the kid in here.
As you guys get closer, you're not there. As you guys get closer, the cart sort of comes up from around the corner and heads down the road past you. As they pass, there's that brief moment where you sort of meet eye to eye, and you can see. Actually, make a perception for me. Yeah, that's Harrison in particular.
Oh. Shit. 12.
Okay.
Ooh. Just toiling back and forth.
That's a bad roll.
So there's that brief moment where you sort of meet eyes with the people on it, and you can see there's the driver up front, and in the cart, which is an open cart, behind him is another 3 people. It's sort of hard to make out as they go by who or what they are.
Do I see the Dilmati can see anywhere on
You do notice that amongst the cart there is various boxes, and you can see they're branded with something, but you don't quite make out if it's the same insignia or not. So this cart goes by, and basically as it passes by you, you two are stood sort of on the opposite side of it, sort of meeting at about the same time. But you watch as this cart continues down the road. You sort of look at it as it goes off, and you can see, as you go by, a couple of the faces in the cart sort of look back towards you and then look back towards the driver, and they start to sort of... You can see a bit of commotion happening on this cart as it continues away.
Can I hear them saying anything?
No. With the trundle of the wheels and the horses galloping, you don't hear anything. But they're probably getting about 100 feet away. As they continue, suddenly you see the driver sort of looking back, and the horses begin to stop reasonably abruptly. Yeah, okay. So this cart comes to a halt, and you can see the three in the back that you can visibly see from here jump down off the back and start heading, just like casually walking back down the road. As they continue along, you can see the driver sort of hops down off the side. You can see with your passive perception, I'd say he sort of reaches back into the cart and grabs something out, and then continues down the road behind his companions towards you.
I will make sure Celsius is behind me.
Okay.
And then fire.
Can I hear him say anything?
They're not saying anything as they're coming back, but
Offer us some slaves.
they continue down the road. You are sort of thinking that perhaps they're slaves when they get to around 50 feet away, and you can see that they're all quite well armed.
They're just bitches.
And as they make their way back down, they get fairly close to you. And one of them sort of... You can see they're all sort of almost sizing you up, sort of having a look at what you're armed with, sort of paying particular interest to the child behind you. And you can see they sort of raise a bit of an eyebrow and say, "Your kid?"
Does it matter?
Yeah. Actually, it does.
What's
So-
the client's kid?
Turns out, you all sort of pretty accurately meet the description of some people that we were looking for.
We didn't kill them all.
Yeah, there was one alive at like.
Fuck.
There's no mention of a kid though, which does make me a little bit interested in
Maybe we're not the people then.
what you're doing here. Yeah, maybe.
Walking?
Yeah.
We are not the droids. You're
Technically we're sitting, but you were walking, yes.
Fair enough.
Passers by?
He sort of leans to one side to try and sort of more engage with Silsey. He says, "What's your name, sweetheart?" And she sort of just like steps back behind you a little bit. "No need to be rude, I only asked your name." And you can see he sort of keeps like trying to engage with her.
Who's asking?
One of the other guys is like, we'll do the question asking here."
Why
She's
should we
just
listen
shy
to
is
you?
all. Wouldn't you be shy if a stranger asks you a question? Are you shy now?
No.
No? Imagine you were 8.
Okay.
Imagining it.
The one that's sort of trying to engage with Silsey sort of straightens back up. As well, we've got some cargo to deal with, but it's very interesting seeing you here with a child. The only town on the Isle that has an orphanage. We'll keep that in mind. And he turns and starts heading back. The others that are stood there watch you do that and sort of just like raise an eyebrow.
Just kidding.
Don't worry, she's just a crazy old lady. We're actually here to drop her off. She needs care. Orphanage
Sort
is
of
the
rests his hand on the
closest place.
scimitar at his side and goes, yeah, I'm sure. And sort of takes a few steps backwards before he sort of turns and starts walking away.
Should have five on his feet.
That's for me.
But you could see they all start making their way back. One of them, the one that was driving the wagon, you can see as the others sort of move back past him and they sort of continue along, you can see he has this wooden item with a sort of metal rod attached to it that looks very similar to the thing you saw the woman with back in Calavan. This one much longer, a much bigger sort of variant of it.
Like a musket.
Yeah, very similar too.
It's a lot more.
Yell out "bye" and wave to him.
They don't respond. Okay.
That bitch,
You can see they make their way back, and you can see they sort of get back up onto the car, and you can see one of them sort of pulls out this ledger from one side and sort of just tears out a page, sticks it to the front of the book, and then starts scribbling something on it. But as the cart pulls away, they continue along the road.
You know what this means?
You gonna come up
They're
with
not in earshot, are they?
No, they're gone now,
Yeah.
essentially moving along.
dickheads?
Can't really leave her here now.
Here we go.
We can't really leave her here now.
They said it's the only orphanage on the island.
Yeah.
We're gonna sell her somewhere.
No.
We're gonna keep her forever.
No, but I'm sure we can find a better place.
I want to go home.
Go on then.
Every time you speak, she just like narrows her eyes at you and sort of just like gives you like basically just a greasy, like she just doesn't like you at all.
Oh, one.
You should really think before you say things.
I don't give a fuck.
We gathered.
Like, we just even say, like, if there's owls and other cultural places at orphanage, or if it's just strangers.
That's not really the problem. If they think there's any
She
survivors
never,
from
they didn't
that.
say her face.
Just look it up in Yellow Pages.
Are you gonna add anything fucking useful
Like,
to
if
this?
there's other owls and, like, other races at the orphanage, it won't matter.
That's true.
Or you could skin her face so she's not
For
recognisable.
fuck's sakes. That's dark.
Just offering suggestions.
Why don't we go just talk to the owners of the orphanage?
That's a good plan.
Oh, do you reckon it's like some like evil old hag that like beats and stuff?
Is it you?
No, someone doing live trials.
So, yes? Go on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
They run an orphanage to sacrifice into the dark world.
so you start heading into Dallas.
Fuck, you're in a mood tonight, Tim.
It's just
Tonight,
Wednesday.
yeah, it's fucking every Wednesday. So you start making your way in. As you sort of arrive back to the corner of the city and or the town and look back in, you can see the same man that you spoke to previously, and he's now sort of stood there at like the first building down talking with this woman who's like in the middle of trying to like clean some washing, and he's sitting there going, I swear to God. You could like just hear him, like it's almost like he's been trying to tell her this for like 10 minutes, but just she's not listening. But you could hear him going, I swear to God, she was red as anything. And like as he's saying this, you come around the corner and you sort of go,
Can I cast
it's like sort of
minor illusion?
sure. What are you doing
Making myself look younger and human.
I feel like that'd only work.
with minor illusion?
Does it work?
I
Probably
don't
not.
think it does.
So minor
If you stand
illusion.
perfectly still and are less than 5 foot tall.
Yeah, minor
Oh,
illusion.
close.
A 5 foot by 5 foot 2D simple image. You're just casting it over your face. So you're this 5 foot elderly tiefling with a tail that's flicking around with just a young human's face. That's not terrifying at all.
Fuck, you're gonna be like the next like Wives' Tale story.
It's almost like I recommended you take a different trait that would let you cast disguise self at will as much as you wanted to, which I think is just the best fucking thing ever, mind you.
Why would you not take that?
Yeah, how good is
I
it?
got better shit to take.
It's a class trait, and you can cast it at will without expending a spell slot. So you can just cast alter appearance or whatever it
And what
is.
you get to set up at 10.
Hellish Rebuke.
Which is.
You can set people on fire if they're hitting with a weapon.
No, Hellish Rebuke's your tiefling thing, so you'd still have Hellish Rebuke. I can't remember what the other thing
Oh
was.
no,
It was
I get
the-
like a tome with like 3 free spells in it.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. Anyway, that's not shitting on your character. It's just not what I would have done.
Shitting on your character. Well, Dax was imagining what happened to him.
Yeah, you just got him killed.
You got him killed. You could save him at any point.
So it's almost like you're not getting any NPCs this campaign.
Yeah, fine.
I'm gonna train her like a Spartan.
So yeah, this guy sort of taps this woman on the shoulder and sort of points, and they sort of both look over, and the woman sort of just gives you almost a nervous smile and sort of nods her head and goes back to what she was doing, and the guy just sort of backs up against the corner of the house, just like eyeing you suspiciously, particularly you. But they're like as you enter the town, they're sort of like across maybe 50 feet, 100 or 50 to 100 feet, and the orphanage is like down to the left.
I just wave at the guy.
Same.
The guy doesn't see you at all. He's just like looking at Agatha. The woman just gives you a friendly nod and goes back to what she's doing.
You should go and steal fucking.
I'm not a mean person.
So,
We'll go with that.
by about this time, when you come back, you could see over like across the yard from where you are, there's a reasonable sized warehouse that there's sort of a middle-aged man sort of unlocking and opening now. And you can see as this happens, as he pulls the door open, it rings a bell atop the door. Just lets out this sort of what?
Nothing.
This sort of heavy ringing. And he sort of heads inside and starts moving crates around inside. But
I just start going shaking the door, so it rings the bell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So by the time you walk over, he's sort of moving some crates, and you can see he's going over and bringing some crates forward towards the door before this bell starts to dong, dong, dong. He looks over. Why? What are you doing? I don't mean to be rude, but who are you?
The sun soothes my soul.
Oh, my name's Agatha. Sorry, I'll leave you alone now.
Agatha?
Yeah.
He sort of looks a bit confused as you sort of head off back towards the rest of them. But you sort of make your way over. I'm assuming you're heading towards the orphanage.
Almost running back towards the group.
Sure. So at a jog, Granrick comes over and joins back up with the group. You can see Silsy's sort of like got this mischievous grin on her face. She kind of enjoyed it. So you head over, and
Enjoy something being lit on fire.
arriving at the door, you
Orphanage.
can see this was probably quite a nice building when it was first built, but it looks like it's just deteriorated over the years from nobody really maintaining it. But it seems to be pretty well intact.
Callum,
He's the one that does shit.
a samurai.
He's also a blacksmith. You said that.
I'm not
Probably doesn't even know
a
how.
house repairer though.
Oh, you can try.
Off
You
you go.
probably know more about it than I do.
Get repairing.
You're up.
It's one down. It's for the orphans. You're gonna really turn orphans down. You're a fucked up person.
While they're standing there having this conversation, Tordek, you notice the few people that are wandering around the town, the guy in the warehouse, the two over the other side, seeing you sort of head in and head directly for the orphanage, even though you do have a kid with you, like 4 very well-armed individuals come into the town and head directly towards the orphanage. You can see they're not doing anything, but they're all they've all stopped what they're doing. There's probably about 6 or so people that have stopped what they're doing, and they're sort of just keeping an eye on you.
the thieves.
So, what would you like to do?
Open knock on the door.
Do you want to have Cersei outside?
We'll just leave her in.
But, no.
Yeah. Probably.
So if he wants to go outside. I can go with him. No one else wants to go inside.
I'll just power in there and leave.
I'll stay out here with Celsi. Celsi.
Why don't you take it in the orphanage? That's where she's meant to go.
We're going to talk to the orphanage people first.
Why are they going to stop us from taking the kid if we don't want to live with him? They can try.
Are you going in?
Yeah.
Okay. So, after knocking on the door, there's no response. So you head in.
Yeah.
Okay. So you make your way in, and immediately through the front door, you can see there's a set of steps that leads up to a second level. But you
Can I
can,
just leave my weapons on?
yeah, absolutely. Inside, or are you leaving them with them?
No, leave them go. Except for my,
Okay.
obviously, I can hide me out of the blade.
Your lightsaber.
Yeah, me lightsaber, like that.
Sure. Okay.
He's going to go murder all those orphans with a lightsaber.
Not just the men, but the women and the children too.
Yeah.
So
Star Wars.
you make your way in. You can hear various noises. Most of them being children, but there's some sort of happy cheers and laughing, and sort of from directly in front of you, which goes through an archway and then branches left to right, you can hear almost some arguing between what appears to be an older woman and a few children. But yeah.
What races are the children? Are they all human?
We can't see any from here, but yeah. So there's basically upstairs, which goes up to where sort of most of the laughing and that's coming from, or straight ahead, which is where you can hear this sort of arguing. It's not like angry arguing.
Yeah, I'll go straight here.
Okay. So you make your way in and round a corner, and you can see there's a woman there, a gnome, who's sort of in the middle of what appears to be preparing some sort of breakfast. But you can see there's these 2 children next to her who, one of them is a halfling and one of them is a human. And you can see that they're both sort of standing around her going, "But the bell rang, that means that there's food today." And
the worst.
and the woman's
There's lots of food. There's so much food. The most food they've seen in their lives.
and this gnome woman standing there going, no, you will have to have what we have every day, and that you all have, as she sort of scoops it out angrily. It appears to be some kind of like slop or soup that she's
You're about to
preparing.
disappoint hundreds of orphans.
You are.
Me. Wasn't even me. Wait a minute.
The other one's going, but why can't we have some bread?
Because Granrick took it away from ya.
But anyway, as you sort of round the corner, your sort of heavy footsteps alerting them, the woman looks over. She goes, "Oh, visitors. What can I do for you?
Got another one for you.
You get out of." You can see she sort of starts to shoo the kids. She goes, "Get out of here. Go find the others," and sort of shoos them away. And they and sort of wander off around the corner.
There's lots of food waiting.
She comes over and she's like, "Business?"
So, we found a little elven girl, and
Nope. No more. No. Nope.
What if we kill
Thank
one?
you. You can see she like starts like turning you around and sort of like trying to push you back towards the door.
but, well, where else is she supposed to go?
Anywhere that isn't here. I've got my hands full with these. We don't have enough food to feed them. And they're driving me insane.
We've
No
got some
more.
apples.
Thank you. And she sort of starts trying to push you again.
What if I give you money? Will you take her?
Immediately she stops and she's like,
selling children.
It's not selling.
"How much money?"
Maybe just want to paladin plays like that.
Bribe people.
No.
Well, it's not. Probably.
Realistically, look after her.
5 gold?
Your paladin's
To
a
take off
complete
hands.
fucking opposite.
Oh, yeah.
But surely should cover some food for a while.
Sorry, I'm just looking at pricing for stuff.
Price for a child.
It's almost, it's handily printed on my DM screen. Slave rates.
What are they?
I'm interested.
But you could, she sort of lets out this sort of cackle almost and says, "Yes, it would pay for some food for a while. Do you understand how an orphanage works? Children get dropped off here and raised until they're old enough to take care of themselves, and then they go off on their own. I would need enough to make sure that she's fed for some years. How old is she? I'm assuming she would be here for a few years at the very least."
She's 7, 8.
Yeah, she's like.
Yeah.
Is she actually that old?
No, she looks like 8-year-old, so we don't know
so,
her actual
yeah.
age.
She acts, and like you all being sort of well, actually, yeah, you'd be quite. Well, no, sorry, I was just looking at your races, because you're all sort of humanish in terms of years, apart from Tordek.
Are
you?
Tieflings.
Tieflings don't live super long.
Oh.
Tieflings only live a little longer than humans.
I didn't know.
Don't know much there.
But yeah, so you'd be pretty familiar that she with sort of the age that she is. She says, "Yeah, so that's going to be quite a few years of looking after her, isn't it?
Unless you don't do it well.
I think you'd probably need to make it a bit more worthwhile if I was to take her on."
Yeah, hitting any more fucking gold.
You can see she's sort of, as she's sort of
We took
saying
care of the
this,
last
she's sort of
one.
like looking
Yeah, we did.
around, making sure
Us.
that like none of the kids are
No, it
sort of
wasn't.
listening
It was
in,
me, fucking Scott.
almost speaking with a bit of a hush.
Wait, Scott, we took care of the last bribe, remember? So now they've got to take care of this one. That's how the deal was going to work, wasn't it?
No, it was the next entrance.
Other elves,
Entrance into freedom for
orphan elves here,
marriage.
that she won't actually work in our cast.
Oh, she's an
How can we
elf.
train her?
Not from Calavan, I suppose.
How can we train
We've had a
her?
couple of them.
Yeah, she was from there, and then we found her.
Get rid of it.
Oh, good. Just another one that I'll have to hide, which would probably make it a little more expensive in that case.
Oh, you're not selling it.
Is there anywhere else we can take her? On
She
this
just
place, or-
laughs and she's like, "Nowhere else is game enough to take on this many bloody children, I can assure you of that."
burn the place down.
What if that's some
Thank
roof?
fuck you're not in there.
Scored. Grab
Grab spell cards, yeah. It's always a good sign. What's everybody doing? Anybody want to do anything while there's...
I can also help heal any sick orphans if they got any diseases or injured, or also help out there.
Her eyes like immediately narrow and she's like, what are you trying to say?
That they're all diseased.
Just trying to give it a helping hand.
I like to think I keep this place pretty clean. She sort of like looks around, sort of almost looking for any sort of evidence to back up like you offering to heal sicknesses. She looks pretty offended actually. She's like,
God damn it.
all of the children are quite healthy, thank you very much. Some more food would be ideal, but we make do. Now,
What if Harrison repairs the place?
That's what it's like.
if you don't have enough coin, then I'm afraid that I can't do anything to help you. I'm sorry. You'll have to find other arrangements. And again, she sort of starts to try and push you out. She can't really do anything, but she tries.
Fine.
What about 10?
Make a persuasion.
It's gonna be garbage. Incoming shit roll.
I start showing Silshu my lockpicking set.
She's actually very interested. You can you see she sort of like pays like a lot of attention to what you're doing, and like as you sort of like show her what
Lock the orphanage and unpick it.
what like each of the picks are sort of for, you can sort of see you start to explain like a couple of the bits, and she's like, and this one turns the cylinder, and you're like, yeah. She seems to pick it up.
completely wrong.
I'm not like a...
This one takes the hinges off.
Unscrew them.
Was an 8.
Okay,
Lock the orphanage to show them how.
Yeah, she's like,
Fuck it, alright. I'm gonna lock the orphanage so I can show her how to actually pick the lock.
okay, are you locking it with the lockpicks, or are you opening the door, locking it?
Opening the door, locking
Okay.
it, and closing it.
So these locks,
Assuming the locks work like that.
Yeah.
these locks the door has to be shut to lock it.
Oh, okay.
But you could go inside and then show her how to pick it from the inside if you wanted to. Basically, they're like skeleton key locks where the
Alright, I'll walk
lock hole
inside and
goes
lock
right.
the door for you.
Sure. Okay.
You're assisting me?
We're gonna make
So-
an assassin child.
Actually.
Well, I
She
said
sort
how
of
interested
says-
she is, so
Yeah, this isn't
I'm
gonna work.
sorry, I do want to help. I have a soft spot for these poor elven children that have been kicked out of that horrible city, but if I can't afford to keep her here, then, I mean,
Who you done it?
I've locked the door for her.
how does a heavily armed dwarf come into the possession of
I
these?
don't have any weapons on him.
Well, I'm assuming, because what have you got? Swords?
Scale. I've just got scale and I left my shield on.
Yeah, but have you got sword?
No, I've just got that lightsaber thing. So it's just like a rod.
Yeah, but normally.
No, I've normally got mace.
Oh, okay. I was like imagining the sheath still being hung at your side if it was a sword, but sure.
You say it.
She goes,
I've still got scale now.
yeah. She's like, how does a dwarf come into possession of a young elven child anyway?
Well, we're doing a favour for someone in the capital looking for her friends, and we stumbled upon a house with bandits taking over it, and then we found Celsi inside.
Ooh. So you're quite capable then. You can see she sort of steps back and eyes narrow again. She sort of looks at you.
I rolled a 20 to pick the lock as well.
Okay, so not only do you get it like first time and quite easily, you also manage to like perfectly explain to Silsey exactly what you're doing. And she sort of goes, "Oh, can I have a go?"
Yeah, sure.
Lock the door again.
It takes her a little while, but you can see she follows your instructions, and she sort of stops about halfway through and sort of has to ask, but if I turn it now, it won't work. Well, you sort of confer with her, and she's like, okay. And then it takes her a little bit longer, but she unlocks it. She does pretty well.
Oh, we're keeping this kid.
Keeping a kid.
I'll take her on as my apprentice.
Always two of them there are. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
I'm not
So
even
she says, so you're quite capable then.
I'm not even
Pretty much.
kidding.
Well, we're still heading on, but we thought we'd do this one favour and let's make sure she's safe, and we got told leaving her.
Well, seeing you're in the business of doing favours, and it seems that you could benefit from me owing you one. I know you're outsiders and you're not from here, so you may have noticed
Some more kids for the
just before you arrived, the bell rang for some reason multiple times.
Yes, I am very aware.
That's a great nuisance to me in the morning, that bell, but it's a necessary measure as food has been disappearing from the storehouse. Now, this village only survives from collaboration of its residents. Everybody puts in what they can and takes only what they need, and somehow we manage to scrape by. Yet, recently, we're struggling more and more. Apparently, crates of food. Andros tells me that food has been disappearing during the night. Now, I know it's not you, obviously. If you're prepared to look into it, perhaps I could be persuaded to take the child for free.
Do you have any leads?
No,
Or
nobody's...
anyone to talk to about it?
Between myself, you could speak with Andros. He's the one that raised the problem with me. You'll find him probably over at the storehouse now. He normally handles managing it and the income and out taking. What?
Taking. I like it.
Aside from that, we haven't wanted to raise questions with anybody because it could be anyone in the town or anyone outside the town, but we don't want to raise suspicions, you see.
Yeah, we can look into it for you.
Well, very
Is it
good.
alright if
Celsius
Celsius
doesn't
stays
like
here
him more than once.
for
You're
the
still
meantime?
teaching it?
if we pay for like a day or two? Or
You give me the 10 gold you offered, and I'll look after her until you're done. If you work out where the food's going, I'll give you your gold back. How about that?
yeah.
Because otherwise, what's to stop you walking out that door and never coming back?
Yeah. I'll take that.
Alright, she holds out a hand.
Put it in there.
Okay. She takes it. She counts it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very good.
It's not very well educated.
She turns and... Wow, yeah.
It's a lot of time.
You are inside now.
Yeah, you can sort of just hear this conversation. Yeah, with your passive perception, you can like just hear this conversation going on.
Get Celsius to open the door again.
Why?
Let's do it. Nothing bad's about him.
Don't believe you.
That's not very trusting.
I genuinely
Nah.
don't believe you.
No, it's nothing bad.
So I'll ask her
It's
if
gonna
you
be
should
funny.
come down and meet Celsius then. That's all.
I don't believe
Yeah, she starts heading back, and she so they sort of round the corner. Looks like they were just around the corner from this like entryway. They sort of round the corner and immediately see you stood there, and she's like, "What? Who are you? What? Oh, are you? Is he with you?"
I have no idea what he's doing there.
The door suddenly cracks open behind. You can see Celsi, this like 8-year-old elven girl, stood there with lockpicks, and she's like, "I did it."
I just give her a high five.
I'll just like look at
No.
The gnome woman just looks back at you and goes, "I hope for your sake that you work out what's going on here." Because
This is news to me.
oh god, yeah, good. Shout at the microphones.
Yeah, make it
Perfect.
I am only 17.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Well, I was pissing myself laughing that they got caught.
Brutal. No, she to come with us.
She just again sort of peers back at you and then looks back to you and goes, I hate her.
I whisper in her ear, don't worry, I'll teach you how to steal her stuff later.
She like sort of brightens back up, looks a bit more excited. Okay, so
how'd the conversation go?
as sort of you two stop to talk, this gnome woman continues past and sort of comes down to the door and sort of starts interacting with her. But
Yeah, we'll talk when
She fucks with her grandma.
Chelsea
She
does
doesn't
the
help me kill.
Jesus. That's fucked up.
but you can see this gnome woman sort of heads over, and she's about the same height as Silsey, and heads over and she sort of starts looking at her, and she gets right up in her face, and she's sort of looking at her going, oh, you're the one then, are you? Alright, well, best bring your things in then. And you can see Silsey sort of backs up and she goes, I don't want to stay here.
Are you fucking use yourself?
I don't want her to stay here.
It's only for a little while, right? Didn't that lady say that she was going to come eventually? She just had to...
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Can't rely on it.
None of this has been to explain to Silsey or the gnome woman.
I forgot about it. But we can't rely on it either, like.
Well, I'm not telling her.
Tell me what?
That it's your birthday!
She just glares at you again.
What was that chick's name? Did we ever get her name?
No, we left names out
Did I think
there. RE17.
Come on,
Why aren't you at your post? That's all I can think of every time somebody says that. That's all I can think
I
of.
mentioned the fact that
we left names out of it on
Look, I
purpose.
mentioned the fact that we didn't know her name, so we couldn't tell Celsi, and then you guys go see her and don't ask for her
I
name.
think I did, I just don't take notes.
I didn't go see her.
No, there was nobody ever got her name.
I feel like we specifically left names out of it on purpose.
Yeah. It was on a need-to-know basis.
You're gonna have to stay here for at least a little while.
Why?
Like 10 years.
Well, I mean, we kind of can't look after you at the moment, and once we either find your parents or get into contact with...
I can look after myself. It's okay. You don't need to look after me. She sort of looks back, mainly between you two, expectingly, being like, don't make me stay here.
I just cough under my breath. Thief!
Are there any inns in town?
You saw those guards that were intimidating earlier, like. I can't remember what the fuck this is. Like, they'll probably be looking for you, so you need someone to hide for a bit while we investigate what's going on.
We'll come back tomorrow.
You'll come back, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, we do have to get from back.
I'm gonna bring you your own set.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
We actually have to come back, you idiot.
No.
So, no.
What?
What did the chick look like?
I'm still making
Who?
this promise.
The woman from RE17?
Yeah.
She was a... No, she was a human woman. Mainly, I
remember
mean,
it being elvish.
nothing stand out about her. Sort of common clothes, had brown hair up in a bun. There was nothing out of the ordinary that would give you like decent descriptive features, unless you were specifically looking for them at the time, I guess. But
So I wouldn't really be able to like explain the woman.
you could,
No.
like, you get the sense that you could vaguely describe her, but it would be like describing half of the women in Caliban.
We're just going to get
Um,
a pack of cigarettes.
Hmm?
We're just going to get a pack of cigarettes.
That's fine.
The gnome woman at this point sort of says, "All right, well, come on, get your things." And you can see she goes, "I don't have any things." She's like, "Oh, well, of course, I probably should have. All right, come on," and sort of takes her in through the door.
Sucker.
She looks back at all four of you now, all gathered up. This gnome woman and looks very uncomfortable at Agatha, but looks back and goes, "Oh, I see there's quite a few of you. Well, you should get this done in no time then. Good luck." Slams the door.
What are we doing?
Well, I still think I should trade her.
I didn't really like her.
Elsie, that's a bit rude.
The gnome.
She's not a gnome, she's an elf.
That's not her.
So, there's been some.
Also, what was she saying?
Yeah, what are we taking
More of
care
this?
of? Wait, we should just not listen to her and leg it. She's got the kid now.
There's been some shortages of food. Someone's been stealing food supply. So,
Sounds like
as a
a problem.
favour,
Can you just
for taking Celsius,
can you make food by any chance? Like, just
Yeah, in a kitchen.
so as a favour for taking Celsius, she wanted us to look into the disappearance of food. So,
Where's it getting taken from?
the storage.
I can create a minor illusion
let's add that to
and
the
make
things of
it
stuff
look
that
like
we
a lot of food,
investigate.
and then we wait pounds.
So, what was the name? Argoth.
What was that?
What was that?
Well, I think it was your printer again.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know.
somebody had a really good revelation right at that moment.
I have no idea what that noise was. I've never heard that before. Anyway,
That fucking thing that we uncovered underneath the...
Alexa plays special.
this makes me a little bit uncomfortable.
I'm
Okay.
really waiting for it.
Okay, sorry, what are you doing?
So, we should probably go talk to the warehouse manager. Argoth or whatever his name is.
Andros.
Indus. Maybe this is rats. Or goblins.
Okay, so the
Maybe we should take all the food.
I just want to look around if there's an inn in the city while we're...
yeah, you take a quick look around. Basically, all of the buildings in this small town sort of face out onto this main sort of courtyard, which sort of stretches, more of a rectangle shape, if you can imagine. And the orphanage is sort of up one end. Looking back along, nothing strikes you as a tavern. Sort of the familiar signs. There's nothing really there. A lot of them just look like private houses. But yeah, unfortunately not.
Any places that look like they'd sell lockpick sets?
You do actually notice there's one place looking. What time is it? Sorry, I'm just trying to think if it would be open or not.
Still a morning.
Yeah, probably wouldn't be open, but you can see there's actually one place that seems to have all these sort of tables along a balcony out the front. Probably looks like about the only place that might sell something. Looks like they're sort of displays for things when it's open. But yeah, being this early in the morning, doesn't seem to be operating yet.
Can I grapple with my tail?
Not really. You could try, but it's not like
Just trip people up, really.
Can't be a freezer.
Self dead.
So looking around, you get the feeling that the stockpile she's talking about is the warehouse with the bell. You would know this from her talking about the bell.
Oh, yeah, that's where all that's coming from.
But
Oh yeah, ringing that bell. That,
Do you want me to do it again?
Go and do it again before I can finish talking.
meant that orphans thought they were getting food.
Ah.
And since she rang it multiple times, they thought they were getting lots of food.
so you can actually see by about this time with all that happening, you can see like a few people that are coming out of the various houses are heading over, and you can see they come over and they take like a small sort of makeshift box that seems to be filled with a few fruits and vegetables and various things, and they take that back, and you can see there's a few people coming in one at a time and sort of collecting what seems to be almost rations and heading back. Some of them taking small sacks of seed or various.
They looking disappointed.
No, it looks like they're probably more the farmers or the bakers and that are taking flour or grain or various other things. Yeah. So, what do you want to do? Yeah.
Sure.
Fucking weirdo.
I yawned and my jaw dislocated.
Well, we know when that happens.
Okay, so you head over to this stockpile, and making your way in, you can see the same man who was there previously, who's now he's sort of sitting back. You can see there's a large bunch of these crates sort of set aside, which all seem to be filled with vaguely similar things. But you can see he's sort of sat back now with what seems to be a ledger, and you can see he's sort of just taking note as somebody comes in, scribbling something down, waits for the next person to come in, scribble something down. As you walk in, he sort of looks back. Agatha, right?
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
As you come around the corner, he's like, whoa! Takes his ledger, he's like, there's no Agatha on this list, so I'm afraid I can't help you. As much as feel free to ring the bell a few more times on the way out, if you must.
But we can help you.
Jeez, does that don't sound sketchy?
Really? By all means, how can you help me?
He knows.
And we're going over to Tordic.
Leans to the side to see who's coming in, takes another note.
We're here to look into the disappearance of food.
As you start to, you get to disappearance, his sort of feet come down off the table and he's like,
Yeah, good one, idiot.
Yeah, what the fuck do we think?
Did we just yell out that we're sorry we didn't know we didn't want people to know the food's missing?
he sort of whispered and nods his head.
What missing food?
Standing up from the table and sort of heads over and sort of heads you in towards not necessarily a different room, it's just one big sort of storehouse, but sort of a separate area where you can see there's some other boxes and stuff kept, but he sort of gestures for you to head around there, and you can see he sort of stands off to sort of at the end of the divider and sort of just keeps looking back as he sort of starts to explain. So, sorry, who are you? What? Who sent you?
We're adventurers. Tordic.
Yeah, do we need a
Companions.
name of
No,
some
they're
sort?
Ninja Turtles.
We dropped an elven girl off the orphanage, and in exchange for letting us stay here, the gnome said that we should look into the
Sure. Right, this makes sense. I was a little bit concerned that there might actually be some authority back in this land, but no, you're just some random cutthroats off the road. Terrific.
Hey,
Well, if you want to throw it,
to be fair, we're not off the road, we're off the boat, I guess you'd say.
What an assumption.
we're off the boat, gosh!
Well, I mean, you turn up in a city with a child and just take the first job that's thrown your way. What else could you be?
Well, we're doing
Kind
a favour
people.
for someone.
Kind people don't exist in this land. I hate to break it to you. You mustn't be from here.
I was sent by the gods.
What happened to his accent? He had an accent.
Spoke Jamaican.
No, that's a deception. I was sent by the gods.
Okay.
It's very, very high DC on that one.
Yeah, the god of dickheads.
That's a 16.
Oh, were you now? That's good to know. Let me just note that down
I didn't
here.
know that. Which one sent you?
Sent from gods. He scratches in these two big underlines. I'll
Does
be
he
sure.
look convinced?
No, not at all. He's like, I'll be sure to take note of that. He sort of turns back to you. Right. Well, this only happened a couple of weeks ago. Now, I don't know what's going on, but basically, we've managed to get by on our own without relying on Calavan or any of the other cities to supply us with food, but recently things are getting harder and harder, and there doesn't seem to be any, well, overnight food seems to be disappearing. To try and combat it, I locked down the hatch, and he points up towards one of the back hatches, which has been sort of nailed shut. So I battened up all the hatches, and I put the bell above the door to make sure if anybody opened it, we'd hear it, but there hasn't been anything. And the food keeps disappearing. It's not very much, but it's enough to make it a struggle. Especially with the orphanage here, there's a lot of mouths to feed. And I haven't wanted to bring it up with anybody in case I'd rouse suspicion, and you never know what people are capable of. But there's no guards to help, so...
Is it every night or is it every so often?
No, if it was every night, we'd be losing too much food, but... I love the way... Anyway, I'm just going to continue. His accent's just like a mixed mash of like various things every time I say something. But
now he's going to speak like this.
Yeah. If it was every night, we'd be losing too much. We wouldn't survive here. It's maybe a crate or two a week. It tends to be more of the meats that go missing. The vegetables, the grains, not so much occasionally, but primarily the meats, which is annoying. I mean, people go a little bit mad when they go without meat for too long. But like I say, I didn't want to raise it with anyone, but if you've been roped into this, I'd appreciate you looking into it. I mean, you're not from here, so I know it's not you.
Is there any way we can start looking other than just guarding this place?
I mean, it's up to you. If you wanted to raise suspicion, you could ask around, you could ask some of the townsfolk, but try to leave my name out of it. I didn't hire you.
Have you, by any chance, had a visit from the Dilmarty Trading Company to the city anytime?
No, Dilmarty never traded with us. We're small fish, really. I mean, what we produce is barely enough to keep us going here, so they've never had any interest in us. But we definitely don't have the coin to be on the other end of it.
Who actually are they?
The Dilmarty.
Yeah.
They're traders. They buy and sell goods. They buy and sell goods all across Tolkala. Well, they used to, at least. They still do trade a little, but it's mostly imports and exports now. They don't really trade between the cities. It's too dangerous. They lost too much cargo, I think. Where'd you get a tiefling?
I don't.
A boat, no, the same boat that we arrived here on. She's batshit. She's batshit crazy.
I don't think we really got her,
They
more in the
all
sense that we caught her accidentally, if you will. It's like a bad STD that won't go away.
Oh crap. I'll just fucking crack my tail at him.
Okay. Well, I mean, sure. You can probably like whip it at him. It's not going to make like a whoosh sound.
No, like hit the ground.
Oh, okay, sure. When you said I'm gonna crack my tail at them, I was
like
expecting. I thought you were imagining like this tail just being like whoosh.
I should put like a metal sheath over it so I can stab people with my tail.
But yeah, this like it's a little bit weird not being used to being around somebody with a tail. This sort of leg or like random appendage slaps you across the back of the leg without any sort of main body part moving. It's very uncomfortable.
Well, that's just weird.
he sort of
We're in a wood building right now.
he sort of leans he sort of leans
Can't
back.
smell the food if there's no food.
He's like, oh fuck, who was that? And he goes, if you need anything else, I'll be here. But and he sort of takes off. He's like, oi, come back here, you son of a bitch. And sort of takes off towards her.
food. It was there.
Let's go, Scott.
You get the sense that they weren't stealing anything. He just missed whoever came in and took their
We
ration.
should kill the orphans to rule them out of it.
We should go around and just talk to every single person and ask them why they're stealing the food.
Go
Just judge from what they say.
I'll just do a
One of
stake
them
out
will
for a couple
accidentally.
months.
I think we should do that
on.
first.
Didn't know we were playing cool food.
Just round him up.
Bring them up.
I think we should do the stakeout first, and if it doesn't work,
Can I have a look around the place and see if there's any like holes that like?
Yeah, it'd be an
Rats or
investigation. It'd probably take a little while. It's a pretty big. It's essentially a warehouse. It'll take a little while, but
It's an 11.
okay.
Are we gonna rest afterwards?
After what?
Or we're gonna? You said you're gonna stake out.
It's like 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, no, okay. So I could ask.
Agatha's like, I'm sleepy.
Because I could cast detect magic to see if there was any magic.
Okay.
But no.
Nah.
But no, fuck yeah.
Thanks.
So you spend a bit of time, you look around, like you sort of go and double check the hatches, make sure that they are sealed up. They do seem to be. It doesn't look like any of them have been tampered with or opened since they've been sealed. And looking around, like the walls seem to be secure. There doesn't seem to be any break-ins, or from what you can tell, there doesn't seem to be any secret entrances or anything along those lines. It seems to be fairly secure.
You're pretty good at breaking into places, right?
what do you want me to break into?
Here.
Oh god.
Are you three gonna be inside, and I'm gonna try and break in at night time?
No, like just right now.
Right now.
See if there's any like.
Right now.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I'm in.
Now, where do you want me to try first?
I don't know. See if like the hatches are nailed down. So
What's your
probably-
intelligence?
Dog shit ain't it?
It's 12.
Did
Okay.
you just have the same score for every stat?
Almost.
I just saw +1, +1, +3, +1, +1, +1.
Okay.
Pretty much.
I was just curious. It's fine.
So you wanna have a look on the outside of the building?
Yeah, sure. I reckon the roof would be the place to go.
Probably. you wanna climb on up there then?
Alright. Is there a ladder up to the roof?
So you head outside and you can see there's a small lean-to, which is built onto the side that seems to be covering like some straw and hay and that sort of thing. And up the side of that there is sort of like a ladder built in, and then from that roof up there is another ladder.
I'll climb up that.
Okay, so you make your way up, and you can see up on top there is a hatch, but as you get up to it, you can see it appears to have been nailed down fairly recently. But make a investigation while you're up there.
Oof.
Jeez, that didn't even roll. It's just like, bang, 19.
I got 21.
Okay,
Doesn't
Yeah.
count, didn't roll.
so
You just dropped it on the number.
yeah, just thudded down on a 19. Yeah, you.
Rim, dim, 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 dim.
It was like some fucking stock V4. Anyway, you look around though. The hatch definitely seems to have been untampered with, unopened since it was sealed. And you sort of spend a bit of time and look around the rest of the roof. There doesn't seem to be anything tampered with. It all seems to be pretty legit. Even looking around like at the ladders you climbed up, doesn't. Like, you don't find any evidence of somebody going up and down here. You also sort of get the idea that if they were taking a crate of food, it'd be pretty difficult to carry it up or down off these
Maybe there's a
ladders.
tunnel somewhere.
Yeah.
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 Is there only the one opening around the outside of the building?
Yeah, so continuing your circle around, you can see there used to be a door at the back, which has been not just like nailed shut, it seems to have like some time ago been completely removed. It doesn't look like it's openable at all. And as you continue around, you come back around to the main doors on the front. That seems to be the only way in and out.
There's nothing around the outside.
Well, there's lots out there.
There's nothing around the outside.
Fucking hell.
How do they get in? Through the front door.
Maybe they're already in here.
Maybe it's as simple as that.
Maybe it's a
They just stay in there the whole time.
Yeah.
Maybe it is as simple as that.
They just
Maybe they do walk in
they just
during
walk
the day.
in the front door. Oh, but then the bell would go off. They need some sort of.
Not if it's already open.
You stood at the front sort of discussing this. Andros is like, anytime the barn's open, I'm here. Nobody just walks in. I don't mean to eavesdrop, but you're just
No,
standing.
you're helping
You're
us.
kind of in the way, if you wouldn't mind. He sort of pushes past you and continues.
Should say.
I start following him and I go, is there any way other than the front door into this place and the spot on the roof?
He sort of sets the crate down. He's like, nope. I've been around. I went around again when the food started going missing and made sure that everything was sealed off. There's the hatch in the roof that's been nailed down. The hatch at the back, which has been sealed, and there used to be an old doorway at the back there. And as you look over, you can see that whole section, which is sort of around behind the divider, has just been sort of like walled off kind of thing. Like there's no way the rear door still functions. He says that was like it when I took over, but as far as I know, there's this doorway. He sort of turns around, gestures back towards the main door.
No cellar?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Dun, dun, dun.
So they're either really good at what they do, or magical.
Fine.
Well, where that door is, what if that's still... It might not look like a door, but what if it is?
Can we look around inside the warehouse?
Open it.
Cool. I cast Detect Magic.
Okay. Is that an instant or takes a little while?
I'll tell you in a bit.
Either way, while this is happening, you cast the spell.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter how long, because I'll do it until
It's a 30-foot radius for detect magic.
Duration, that takes 10 minutes. You
Yeah.
sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you learn its school of magic, if any. This spell can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet
Yeah.
of lead.
Okay. So you cast detect magic, you spend the 10 minutes, and sort of once the spell takes effect, you sort of glance around. The first thing that sort of catches your attention is the hilt that Tordek is carrying, which seems to be have this aura of magic around it. Outside of that, nothing else really catches your attention.
So I'll zip around the entire...
Yeah.
I like it looking for
So you make your way around the
trap
inside.
doors.
Nothing else seems to stand out. You head out and make your way around the outside as well.
Perception
Nothing
or
nothing
investigation.
else. Sorry, man.
I investigate around where that old door
Old door.
was.
Okay,
To
make
see
an
if
investigation just for that area.
Can
Then.
I perceive around there?
Well, you can help him look if you want, so you can do it with advantage.
Fuck up. That's happened so often. Oh, fuck
Nat
20.
Okay.
Which actually becomes like a 23.
So you sort of discuss it. You sort of discuss the possibility of this door still being functioning, even though it doesn't look like it. And you make your way over and sort of really like look at this wall that's sort of been built in and sort of check that none of it could function. You sort of scale up onto the side of it to make sure that it's not a false wall that the door can open into. It seems to be nailed hard to it, whatever this paneling is, seems to be nailed hard to the structure. And the door, even if the door did still function, it would not be able to open against this wall. It's almost like a wall inside a wall. There's just, no way that you'd be able to get in there unless you were a tiny creature that could squeeze in, but how would they get the crates out?
Pulling off on the crate.
Because essentially there's, the door opens, but if you're small enough you could go up and over the inside wall, but...
I think I'm almost all right by
Just
ideas.
curious. Cast the wheel means you can do it whenever you want, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Oh, I thought they'd pick up spells, but apparently not.
Is it an ability for something?
Detect magic and identify, and all my cantrips for
Oh, it's because it's a 10-minute cast. It's a ritual cast.
but I don't have ritual cast.
No, but it might be a ritual spell. Is that a thing?
Don't know.
Anyway,
Who knows?
well, what the fuck, D&D doing? Cool. So, what do you want to do?
I actually stay in there overnight.
Don't really have any other plans.
Sure.
Because then if those Dombari people come back,
Well, we've still got like the rest of the day to do.
yeah.
We can go shopping.
Moved all our money.
Yeah, by about this time, sort of as you sort of reconvene at the front, you look across the square and you can see that shop or that building I was saying is more than likely a shop. There's a man sort of taking stuff out and setting down trays, which seems to have a few odds and ends scattered across them.
You should start repairing the orphanage.
That's the monster manual. Don't panic, I just got the wrong book.
Fuck.
Yeah, you don't have spell slots for first level there or what?
What if it's a doppelganger and he pretends to be the guy and then he goes in?
Oh, you're looking shit up. I was
Yeah,
like,
I looked up his thing to make sure
I was like,
those spells
what?
were at will, and
How did you know that?
definitely what it seems like.
What do you mean does it have first level?
How long does that detect magic last?
What, he can just cast
Half an hour.
No slots.
Okay.
2 for a second level.
Oh no, sorry, 10 minutes.
So he can just
Oh,
cast
casting
those
time's
whenever.
one action.
All
Read that
first.
backwards.
Oh, okay, sure.
So does that
Cast
mean
without
some of
using
the
any
other ones
slot.
will eventually be like that? Or?
No, yeah,
Sorry?
how class works. I'm just confirming that Tim can cast those whenever.
Oh,
Can I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely how it
Cool.
seems.
Be nice if I actually.
like without spell slots.
Yeah. That'd be good
And
if
you
I
have that
actually.
one second level spell too.
Augury.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever that one is. That's cool.
I think my pact thing tells me what to do.
okay. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna head out to the shop, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so we make our way across, and you can see this seems to be a human man has just finished sort of setting this up, and as he heads back in, you sort of almost follow him in, and he sort of turns to greet you at the door and says, "Oh, hi,
Hi.
can I help you with something?"
Do you have a lockpick set by any chance?
Maybe. What do you want it for? You want to break in here later, steal my stuff?
Oh, that's a genius idea. Imagine the savings. No.
Hmm.
Actually use it for investigating things. Just ask the dude in the barn.
What are you
Investigate.
investigating?
How people can break into places and how we can stop them.
It's really a test to see how breakable, like, how easy I can break into your place.
You want to break into my place?
Do you want me to test if I can?
No.
So then you can,
But then you
Oh,
won't know
how
if
much?
people can break in.
how much security you actually have?
I don't like you.
Not a lot of people do.
But yes, I do have lockpick sets. He leans over and he pulls out this set of lockpicks and sort of, it's in like this rolled up leather that he sort of rolls out, almost like torture tools.
It's gonna fuck you up with some.
It's actually a much bigger set than the one you've got. Yours is like a very like concealable thing. This is like a sort of like a locksmith set. It's a much more versatile thing.
I can't let you break me into what? Like Skyrim.
But he sort of rolls it out across the table. He's like, 5 gold.
Done.
Okay.
You got anything else to sell? I mean, I assume you sell more than one lockpick set, right?
Yeah, I've got all kinds of things. What are you looking for?
Press A. Go to buy.
Yeah, exactly.
He sort of starts like pulling out random things. You can see whatever he's pulling stuff out of on the other side of this counter, he just seems to have everything like tucked in behind this counter. He just starts pulling out like goblets, jewelry, random gemstones, parchment, ink. It just seems to be like a general goods kind of store where you can just get various odds and ends.
I think there's a page.
Pulls out a dagger and sort of jams it into the table. Sort of just keeps pulling these random bits and
That was
pieces.
intended for you, Lockie.
Hey, chuck us.
What manual?
You can see around the room
The
as
handbook.
around
It's
the
not
room
D&D,
as
you would
well.
take
There's
too long. Don't you have it on D&D Beyond?
I don't know how to get to it.
what?
Books.
The shopping.
Oh, it's in the compendium.
Compendium.
But you can see around the room as well, there is various like clothing and stuff, like nothing necessarily matching, but just stuff that people have traded in over the years. But yeah, there's a few odds and ends.
Yeah. Compendium. Player's handbook.
How much for the dagger?
You're gonna make me pull out my price list, aren't you?
Equipment. Style equipment was.
It's almost like I actually did some proper bookmarks and can find stuff pretty quickly. It's like 3 gold.
3. Man, this book sucks.
Yeah.
I think you just suck at
You
using
do
it.
a deal? Considering I just bought these.
I'll do you a deal if you buy more stuff. You were so happy with the 5 gold price. Which was a very good deal, I might add. Pulls out about like a small leather sack that he sits on the bench. It sort of falls over and ball bearings roll across the bench.
Sounds like something you'd be interested in.
Pulls out a couple of quivers of arrows. A jug.
I give him the 3 gold and take the dagger out of the table.
You can see over on one side as you're looking around this room, there's like a almost like an old school mannequin. Like it's not human form at all, but it's like this set of timber and dowel that juts out at different angles to like hold armor.
Jim.
But you can see like hung around one of the pieces of timber is probably like maybe 30 to 40 different religious symbols or holy symbols that have either been found or traded in. But looking through them, like there's probably about every deity you know, and then like the other half you've never even seen before. But yeah, there's
We
heaps.
should all get the same one. And
Matching.
could be a
We could be buddies.
could be squad.
There is other things that catch your attention. There's a shelf that has various liquids, different vials,
Jars,
and different vials and potions and various other things. There's some lanterns. There's a lot of just basic equipment, like pretty much anything you're looking for that's
It's got
like
any bedrolls.
general stuff. Yeah, you probably would actually.
We'll buy one of those.
What? You all will?
I will.
Oh, okay. Sure. It's a gold.
What? You 2?
Didn't have one.
You fucking jerk. Make it 2, you son of a bitch. As I've already given you a fucking freebie.
Fuck, that's expensive.
What is
Bulk. 25 gold.
Wait, is that going to cost me 2?
Yes. I've already given you a fucking a pearl for free, and then you.
Oh, nah. I'm buying it.
Yeah.
If you got any pearls.
You have that much gold?
No, I don't. How do you add equipment? Manage equipment.
Anything else you're looking for in the meantime?
I need 100 gold pearls for 37 gold.
What?
Wow.
Abacus, acid, atmosphere. What? Ooh, something called bad news bullets.
What the fuck, this sounds sick.
Yeah, never mind. Just ignore that.
Continue.
Like, yeah, it's literally just something you don't need to worry about. It's added because of one of the settings reasons.
Oh, bedroll. One gold.
It's actually 2.
So, you're investigating, are you?
You can double as a structure.
I'm an investigator.
Like a masturbator.
Really? So what are you investigating? You have to be investigating something. Investigating the prices in my shop? Is that what you're investigating?
Not quite cool.
It's a small town. People like to talk. I'd like to have something to talk about later. Something going on? Something afoot?
Not here.
Just aloof.
This is just a town we were passing through.
Smell some shit out.
Nobody stops here unless they have to.
There's reports of a jackal.
What?
A jackal.
Make a deception.
Is there anything I want to buy?
12.
Oh, yeah, I could buy a donkey.
I don't like you either.
How you friends about the jackal?
Well, if you don't need anything else, I'll thank you to get out of my shop.
Just jackal.
Don't worry. If I don't work out what it is, you'll probably hear about it in a few days.
So there is something being investigated.
The jackal.
Yeah, the jackal, sure.
We should start a rumor about the jackal.
Alright. Well, very good. Get the hell out.
Quick question before we leave.
What do you know about the jackal?
If I were to want somewhere to sleep tonight, where would I go?
Your friend just bought a bedroll. Perhaps you could share that.
I mean, like, are there any places to stay here? Or am I just going to sleep on the
There's
street?
people's houses. There's the orphanage if you're keen. Their beds might be a bit small though.
So you're suggesting we take his lockpick and sleep in someone's house? Thanks, great. Just walk out.
Whoa!
Okay.
Whoa!
He doesn't seem too fast. He's like,
I can't wait till he wakes up and we're in his bed.
Fuck, that'll be funny.
Yeah, sleeping.
okay. So you head back out and you sort of watch as he like starts taking all the stuff off the counter and putting it back in underneath.
Yeah, his whole person on him, so we can't really.
Jesus. I'm really gonna stop.
So it's only about mid-morning at this point. Is there anything you just want to do?
Spread more rumors about jackal.
Well, we should make it believable.
I tried.
You can, like, if you want to spend time doing that, you can give me a general deception roll. Are you going about like talking to people though? Is that what you're?
He's asking them if they've heard about the jackal. Right?
I don't think we're asking them about this situation.
Okay.
We can't.
Are we?
Can we?
I'm looking out for a fat person. The food's gone.
Mirrors everywhere.
Well, people don't believe you.
What'd you roll?
Fuck all.
What'd you roll though?
6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, people people don't like you. You sort
I
of
sound like a crazy person.
you sort of approach. You sort of approach various people around the town. None of them really want to listen to what you have to say. Sort of, they're all a little bit concerned about the mad tiefling that's getting around town.
You are the jackal.
And like, by the time you've spoken to a few people, the next person you go to approach, you see they sort of stop what they're doing and start walking away, like trying to
fair
avoid
call.
you.
I'll save the good rules for stuff that matters.
People really do think you're crazy.
I'm fucking crazy.
I believe it.
I'm fucking crazy.
What's everyone else doing whilst Agatha is doing this?
Look, and you go.
Ask to see, still see.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, sure, let's go see that.
Okay.
Putting your sixes up so when you don't roll them later.
So you head back in. The woman meets you at the door. She sort of says, "Just solved it already."
Yeah, it's you old egg.
No, just coming
Yes.
to spend time with Silsey before we have to leave eventually.
Okay. She looks a little bit confused. She's like,
I'm confused.
Can we take her out for the day?
Yeah, but like it's so.
"Why did you bring her here if you want to spend time with her?"
I didn't really want to bring her here in the first place. It
Give
was
her
their
somewhere to
choice.
sleep, essentially. We can still
Okay.
look after her while we're in town, but...
Sure,
Yeah,
take her.
like-
Well, I'm not going to complain. She's upstairs.
We're bringing her back later.
Mm-hmm. She just like walks off.
Very good orphanage. If
you
they
just
let us touch the kids.
We can break it in.
You sort of
Leave her there.
you,
Or she can break it.
Can we take more kids?
you head upstairs.
Started up in kids.
You head upstairs and you can see this like a bunch of kids upstairs. They all seem to have like some chalk that they're just like drawing across the floor
I
with.
should light it on
There's not that much to sort of entertain people, but you could see Silsey sort of just sat over on one side, sort of like not really sure what to do or who to interact with.
You serious?
What?
You're getting too attached to her.
Oh, they got a little friend.
Just because you sold it, no, you didn't sell, you didn't make money, you lost money and got rid of it.
You don't know I spend money.
Yeah, true. But yeah, she's sort of sat off to one side, not really doing anything.
Oh, she's a loner. Oh.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'll whisper to you.
I'm not there.
Are you hanging out outside?
No, I didn't.
I was
I'm hanging out with Agatha.
Okay, make a give me a general insight.
She just starts stabbing kids.
I don't think so. But she also kind of wanted to look after herself.
6. Okay.
What did you roll inside for?
So I feel like
Just in
she
general.
probably won't be here
John
long
said
if
roll.
things go her
Oh,
way.
okay.
So that's a yes.
Yes, nothing happens.
She might need it, is
Yes,
what I'm saying.
Yes.
You sort of watch the first couple of interactions go poorly before you like lose interest and stop paying a whole lot of attention.
He was
Yeah, he was like just watching Agatha sort of wander around harassing people.
fucking it up.
Have you seen the jackal?
What are you two doing?
Giving kids knives.
Oh, I was wondering why you were buying a dagger. Fucking makes sense now. Sure.
We've come full circle, boys.
Yeah, I've created a mini assassin.
I was like, you fucking get daggers as starting equipment, like, for every fucking class. Why are you buying a dagger? But sure.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, let's take her out of the orphanage. I forgot the word.
Yeah, she looks pretty happy to see you when she notices you there. And yeah, she's ecstatic she's like, so I'm not staying here?
hello.
It's a place for you to sleep. They don't really have an inn here, so we're probably gonna sleep on the street.
Okay. And then when you go, I get to go as well, right?
If you want to learn how to fight, they're done messed up.
If you want to
This is why you
I
prick to her.
teach you how to look after yourself, but
I don't know about fighting, but
What about breaking into things?
That's illegal.
What about being a projectile?
So it's killing people.
Not if they attack us.
What about being?
she's watching this happen. She's like, I don't know. Maybe.
You're pretty good at it.
Look, we can teach her to hunt, but not to kill people.
Well, here's this for protection.
It's like you put the square peg in the square hole and the knife in the neck.
Her eyes sort of go wide, and she's like, Dad said that I should never touch his knives.
This isn't his.
She sort of takes it a little bit gingerly, and she's like, holding it in two hands. She's like, thanks.
Yeah, go kill one.
Is this still in the orphanage, by the way, or?
No, we've taken her out.
No.
Okay, sure. So you're just like out on the street, and she's now just stood there in the morning, like mid-morning daylight, with this dagger.
I show her where it'd be best to conceal it.
Oh, right. She sort of puts it away.
Then I give her the massive lockpick
So this lockpick set is like, it's like this. It's like this big, and she's like, "Oh, thanks so much. Don't have a bag or anything."
It's because you're an orphan.
Well, I should just give her the small suit.
No, I'm gonna go back to the shop and grab her backpack. And walk on back to the shop.
Okay, so you walk back in through the door, and you can see he's just putting like the last thing away, and he's like, "Oh, back for more!" And he starts like taking the stuff back out and sitting it back on the counter.
Do you sell backpacks by any chance?
He like looks at you. He's like, "No, not." He like looks over to one of the far walls. He's like, "Definitely don't have anything like that."
Oh, that's a darn
And there's
shame,
like
isn't
3 packs hanging across the back wall.
That is a darn shame. I was looking to buy one, but if you don't have any...
Sorry, I guess you'll just have to look a bit harder and see if anybody has any.
Alright then, I walk on out.
Okay, sure. He's, like, you sort of look back at him as you leave, and he just has this very confused look on his face. Like, but yeah, he lets you leave.
We'll just walk around the corner and wait about 5 minutes.
Okay.
So you have amnesia.
While this is happening, Silsey sort of sits down on the ground and like rolls out these lockpicks, and she's like, like pulls it out and starts like picking an imaginary lock.
Can buy her a
thing
rock
where
to
like
crack
you
this
get
up.
somebody's pie in their face, just with lockpick tools. Look at it really close. Bang!
I just ask some people, like, if there's anyone in charge.
How expensive is it a lock?
Or if there's like someone they look up to, or someone
Yeah,
who
you
kind of runs the.
Makes sense with my
Sort of one of the
backstory,
women
why I'm
that's
doing this.
walking around sort of says,
We could find an abandoned house and steal
not
it.
really, there's no guards here,
Fuck,
but
just leave her there.
I guess Andros sort of keeps a check on
Yeah.
things. He
Yeah,
sort of
that's much.
keeps things running.
Yeah, well, this fucking useless. So.
Is there anyone that
Walk around
doesn't
the
like
city for an
Andros?
abandoned house.
Not really.
Or that's had a grudge with him before? Or
Nothing that's ongoing. People get hungry and they blame Andros because he keeps the stock house and only lets people take what we can afford to give out. So they blame him for us not having enough food. But I don't think it's his fault.
there's no one with particular grudge against him, it's just a couple of people.
I just rolled an insight to see if she came like worked out that you're like, you know, trying to like find out about something. Rolled a natural one, so she's oblivious. But she's like, no, I don't think so. I mean, there's not many people here. We all know each other pretty well. Grudges come and go, but there's nobody that sort of hates each other or avoids each other.
Is there anybody that's particularly angry?
Lock the door in the shop.
Huh?
You should go in and lock the door in the shop.
Not really. I guess if anybody was going to be angry, I'd think it's the orphanage, but Meryl seems to make do, I guess. Sometimes not even taking the rations. I'm not sure that's the best idea, considering she's trying to feed all those kids, but I guess
Maybe
she
she cooks the kids and feeds to the kids.
It's terrible.
I guess she makes do.
They're all in camp. It's fucked up.
I'm not there, so
Thank you for telling us what you know.
No, so-
That's alright.
you come back with a bag yet?
No, I was waiting at the shop for 5 minutes.
Okay, so
Hey, I'm new here.
5 minutes goes by.
Right, I walk on in again.
Did you find anybody that sold backpacks?
I did actually. There was one right there.
Yeah, I know.
What are the odds? When did you stock them?
What one do you want?
4 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking, but
I just eat any one of them.
so there's basically 2 adventurers bags and then one like smaller bag, coincidentally.
Then need your bag.
Yeah, probably just the smaller one.
Okay.
Do you happen to sell any locks?
Locks for what?
Oh, to practice lock picking, of course.
Oh.
You came in and bought a lock pick. So.
I don't sell any locks. Let me have a look. And he goes back behind his counter and he's like digging through some stuff and eventually he pulls out like this small, it's like a lockbox essentially, like a small coin lockbox. Sort of something merchants would carry or shops would keep to keep their money in. He goes, this is about the only thing I've got that's got a lock in it, but...
How much for the 2 of them?
You just cut
The strong box is 5 gold. And the bag, may get 6 for the 2.
Alright, I'll chuck you 6 gold.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
So,
I assumed the box came with a key, right?
no.
No? Right. Fair enough.
It's just like, yeah, you're not really sure if it's ever been opened since he's had it. It's just a lockbox that he's probably found somewhere.
There might be something in it, you never know.
Food.
Okay.
Ah.
Anything in particular you wanted to do?
What time is it?
It's probably getting around midday by the time he's fucked around and
o'clock.
ask people questions.
Oh, damn, no way. I'll bring her back the bag and... Got you some gifts, I guess.
Thank you. She takes it and like puts it on immediately, drops the she like puts it on and then immediately like takes the lockpicks and sort of like flings them over and just into her backpack. Like just fucking pro as.
And I got a box so that you can practice your lock picking, I guess. It didn't come with a key, so I hope you'll be able to do it.
I'm sure I would, and she pulls it back out and unrolls it again and starts like trying to get it.
Told you it was a birthday.
Yeah, she doesn't like. You can hear like a couple of like she starts picking and you hear, and you're like, holy shit, she's gonna get it, and then she tries again. But yeah.
You suck.
You're not there.
I say, no, slow down. You suck.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Just look at her. Look back at the building and go, how would you break into that?
So you can see by this time of day, the doors have been closed and it's been locked back up, and you can see there's this like padlock essentially that hangs on the doors. And she's like, I picked a lock.
You're a genius.
Holy shit. Let's keep her on, boys.
That was the dumbest question.
Ooh.
Unless you gotta try anything.
We keep you around for the good shit.
So basically, look, we've been told that we can do whatever we want to work this out, haven't we?
What do you mean work?
I mean, no.
So I can't try to break in.
You can probably do that. That's fine. But
Yeah,
you
and then
can't,
people will be
go
thinking you're the one
sluggering
sleeping.
people on the street.
Are you with us now?
A bit of time's passed. You've probably all sort of reconvened in the centre of town somewhere, but
How'd you go? Do people believe in the jackal?
This woman's fucking insane. She's a pyromaniac as well.
I feel like she was dropped on her head as a child. You'd
So-
think the horns would help.
I'd just like to point out, like, not that I'm saying you haven't done anything. This session's been fine, but when I was planning this earlier, I was like, they'll probably like solve this like food thing and like get a bit of combat and like we've got half an hour left. It's fine.
It's fine. We went shopping.
I've got no idea where to go with this food thing, to be honest.
Just wait until tonight, I guess so.
You got any ideas? That don't involve fire.
Sorry, I'm trying to look something up because I know it's going to come up, but I can't find it. Anyway, it's fine.
Yeah.
What do you want to do then? So yeah, it's probably like around midday. You sort of gather back up in the town.
Let's camp it out.
Yeah. Tell Cersei that she should go back and stay in the thing for tonight.
We should get sleep now and then start all night.
Yeah.
She's like, well, okay, at least I can practice lockpicking, I guess.
You've got it.
I guess. Give you all the tools in the world to be occupied in the orphanage.
Don't get caught with that dagger.
What dagger? Thanks. And she like walks off, heads back in. Fairly happily heads back in, and
I don't know if she should put it in the box because then no one can get it out.
Don't know what
At
you're
the
talking
same,
about.
at the same time, it'd take her.
Put what in the box?
Don't worry.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What's she putting in a box?
No idea.
What's she putting in a box?
we got her a box.
I'm going from old lady to male Englishman.
So you got her a box to put in a box.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking stupid, eh?
Wasn't expecting more from you.
The second box.
You fucking idiot!
I just cocked that. Like I don't say anything back. I just look at her and just nod.
okay.
What do we even fucking bother keeping him on?
So what do you want to do? You want to get some rest before night?
Have you
Is that
got
your plan?
multiple questions?
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Yeah, but that's fucking Boris now.
Boris the female teeth.
Got 18 strength, eh?
Should we go find the guy and tell him what we're doing, or should we just pick the lock and?
We should probably let him know.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Well, are we going to camp outside or inside? Or two in, two out?
2 in, 2 out.
I should have 20 personalities and then just like on occasions roll 20 and then just see who I get.
I'm not gonna lie, that would actually be pretty funny.
Do it. Work out 20 different personalities.
Alright. My next character. It's gonna have 20 split personality.
Okay, so
Anytime
You-
get changes.
so where are you resting now then?
Good question.
Oh,
Before
we'll
the
catch
night.
up with
Is-
first.
Yeah, fair. We're gonna see him. Tell him
In the warehouse.
Okay, so in the interest of moving that through, you go and speak with him. Is there anything in particular you want to ask him, or
Just like,
Who's
if
taking
he's got a
it?
spare key that we can like get in and out without too many people.
so he says I've only got the one key.
Thank you.
I don't need to get back in here until in the morning.
Yeah.
So as long as you're still around, I will give you my key. Don't steal all of our fucking food.
We'll try not to
Only
die
half of it, eh,
inside
mate?
the key.
I tell you what, you can have one of the boxes for tonight to keep you nourished.
Pour it all into a big box.
Hands over the key. It's like, don't
Fucked up.
take the key with you either. I need that back, otherwise I can't get in.
Halt here. With the food.
I'd soon have somebody break in, but
Oh, I'm sorry, mate. Didn't mean to say that out loud.
no, well, I mean, yous always just talk like as if nobody's around, so in case you haven't noticed, this new adventure that you're on, it's going to catch you out a few times. I just wanted to make that clear.
It's gonna be the best. When we stand in front of cars like, yeah, let's fucking kill them.
And then they're going to get a surprise round in combat.
But I was planning to kill them already.
Just get telepathy or something from yourself.
Yeah, but I'll forget. I'll tell telepathy to them. We should kill the guy.
You won't tell us.
Goes to send a telepathic message, says it out loud.
Cool. He wants to stay inside, he wants to stay outside.
I mean, I feel like the stealthier people should be outside, right?
Is that dark vision?
Sure.
No.
No, I've got dark vision. You've got dark vision.
So we
I'm
should
stealthy. Ish. Not really. Don't have.
Well, you're the
Like-
only one that's not wearing metal armor.
I also
so-
have a dex modifier of 0.
Yeah.
But you
Be.
don't.
No,
you
we
don't.
don't technically have to be stealthy, we just have to find somewhere like.
I can cast Minor Illusion in front of me.
What's the
It's a true. It's like a sheet of paper in front of you.
I'm pretty
That's-
fucking small.
We could just, just find a place to
I can
camp
cast
out.
5.
Hey, what's your stealth bonus?
0.
What's yours?
3.
So technically it's up.
Yeah, I think
Unless
technically
it's
you have more
disadvantage.
stealth.
His is disadvantage,
Yeah, okay.
but I think disadvantage is about the same as negative 2.7.
What?
The average rolls on the dice.
What?
Anyway,
What the fuck are you talking about?
The average roll that you get on the dice at disadvantage is about the same as if you had a negative modifier of 2.7.
I don't think so.
anyway, moving on because I
That's
can
not
see that this is going to turn into an hour-long argument. Who's staying outside? Who's staying in?
Yeah, Scott and I are outside.
Okay.
Job's done.
The average of your rolls and not the average of.
It's a bell curve centered around 8 points.
So, you two take up positions outside, finding sort of out of sight places, but where you can keep an eye on the barn itself. You,
What'd you say? Oh, fuck, I've missed that.
You're making both of my eyes.
you two,
The fuck's going on?
you two inside, manage to maybe go behind the divider and sort of stay out of sight best you can, and sort of just keep an ear out. So,
Do you have advantage on
Yeah, I do.
okay.
Also on smell.
So,
smell down the food?
I wonder if they care if
fuck.
I kill the culprit.
a bit of time goes on, and you just make. Can I get stealth from you guys?
Also.
And I'll take a perception from you guys.
Hearing.
Scott?
17. But I've got this man.
Either or. It doesn't affect your roll.
What? He gets advantage if he's
Oh,
perception's
okay.
hearing.
Yeah, well, it would be hearing, yeah. I thought you were, like, waiting to see what skill you were rolling.
Scott?
18.
Moving just
Okay.
if you're not moving.
No, I'll say you can do it without.
He rolled good on his first one.
Yeah.
Fucking...
No, I mean, that's fair. I'd
So you
say
have to
it's,
roll again and I'll take this roll.
No.
yeah, no, you can take your first roll because you're not moving. This is more finding a spot that's sort of out of sight and just
17.
okay, and
18.
okay,
It's better than my 4.
That was roll flat 18, yeah.
yeah, pretty good. So a fair bit of time
In
passes.
front of the door.
You two, like, it's a long time when you're sitting out at night for 5 hours just trying to keep out of sight, trying not to move.
I'm going to be cleaning my weapons.
What?
Okay, yeah, because you guys have a bit more freedom in the sense that you can move around.
Yeah, it's gonna go in your bloodstream. Then you're gonna go.
After a few hours, though, you do notice. Now, I didn't have you guys roll perception because you're just watching the front door.
Yeah. Scorching ray.
So when
Is
this
there any movement at night, or is everyone inside?
no, so we're sort of skipping over as the night sort of
What's
comes,
it, what are we
but
voting?
basically everyone retires back to their house. You can sort of almost hear in the dead of the night all the locks of the doors go. Everyone, like living in a small village where there's no guards, everyone's a little bit on edge. Yeah, no, there's no sort of like public or public drinking or anything like that. You don't know what they get up to in their own homes, but
Swiggity.
there's no inn or anything.
We should open an inn here.
But yeah, as the sort of early hours of the night pass, you don't notice anybody moving around the town until maybe about a bit after midnight. You see this cloaked figure heading across the yard and heading over directly towards the barn.
Come on.
Come on!
So he heads on over and gets up towards the door. Now you guys, you focused on your weapons, maybe not so much, but you hear
Makes sense. I don't appreciate
sort of very quiet, but you just managed to pick it up, footsteps coming up towards the front door.
Shut up, let this guy come inside.
I'm thinking the exact same thing. Find out how it gets in, and then it's hard for him to get out. Once he's
one
inside.
weapon.
That's it. And then it can't dodge all my scorching rays.
So from where you
In the
two
boxes.
from where you two are, sort of off to one side, you can vaguely make out with your dark vision. You sort of manage to just make out. He sort of pulls up this piece of string which seems to have a key attached to it, and he just slides the lock open. So you guys sort of hear this and watch as the door very, very slowly opens. And you can see this takes him like maybe 10-20 seconds to open the door about 6 inches. But you can see he basically opens the door so slowly that the bell just doesn't ring.
I've readied my weapon so that as soon as he comes in, I'm going to hit him in the face with the blonde end.
No!
What are you doing?
Oh, we can't tell him though, because we're nowhere near him.
Yeah. So
Actually, no. So that when he's in, if he... Not like straight at the door, but like...
okay.
I'm going to be hiding behind one of the crates.
Okay. So he very slowly opens this door and creeps it around, just probably about 6 inches or so where he can squeeze through, and he sort of pulls himself in, not noticing you guys at all as he sort of slowly pulls the door back, not enough to ring the bell, but leaving it at maybe 4 inches ajar, and then he sort of turns around, which is when you would have your readied action, so you're going to strike him with a blunt end.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, make an attack roll.
Doesn't know.
17?
Yeah, that's fine.
So once he's in, I'll stand in front of the door so he won't go run out.
Okay, so you guys come over.
Do we have to make a stealth?
He's currently getting smacked in the face by a
Do
sword.
I get
so,
both weapons or just the one?
just the one. I'd say.
9 damage then.
Okay.
Oh, fucking hell.
I'll tell you what. Let me pull this up real
It
quick.
would be awkward if he just instantly killed you.
With a blunt end of a war pick?
You can punch somebody
How
and kill them.
much? How much damage?
6.
Okay, so you
No, 9. Sorry, I forgot.
So you bring the blunt end of your weapon around and smack him across the face, and he just falls to the ground unconscious, just face down, just.
Cool. Let's go get what's his name?
Quick
Awesome.
die, just in case.
Awesome rope.
I could
We
cast
should
hold.
probably...
I could
I
cast
stand
hold
up and just
person.
go, we should probably tie him up. Or check if there's a pulse.
Yeah, check.
Yeah, he seems to be breathing. He's just unconscious.
Tie him up.
Yep. I honestly expected him to take more of a hit than that.
He's just a civilian.
Yeah.
What did you expect?
You're gonna go punch Celsius and wonder why she's dead.
Yeah, no, it's actually like the word escapes me, but yeah, never mind. It's actually like an animated suit of armor creeping in to steal food. Yeah, why not?
My initial thoughts were, oh, he's going past the bell. He might have magic. He's a caster. Boom.
Well,
Not like a
he just
void.
he literally did. It's just a shit setup on the door. Like now, like you've never thought about it, but if you just open the door slow enough, the bell doesn't ring.
Or you could just hold the bell. So
Well, it's about 12 feet up. They're big barn doors.
Get one person on the roof to hold them.
So anyway,
It's down someone's shoulders.
what do you want to do with this unconscious hooded man?
Tie him up.
Okay.
Drag him back.
Tie him to a chair.
Let's put him on a stake and burn him in the town.
Jesus.
So
We'll
the,
make a real
Well,
fucking.
take off his hood and see who it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nobody's
so-
gonna fucking steal food again, are they?
so looking around, there is that chair that Andros was sitting in previously. You pull his hood back, and you recognise it as being the guy that was like excited / scared about a tiefling coming to town.
Did you hear his name?
Nope. He fucking around for the hills.
But yeah, you get the sense that he's just a townsman, just a common guy.
Now he's unconscious. It's fine.
But
Just the town's person who's unconscious.
are you tying him in the chair or to
Yeah.
a stake or?
Jesus.
To the chair.
Okay.
Just came for a steak, but okay.
We're gonna dunk him under some water and hold him there.
Okay.
We could bury him alive.
So
See if he's a witch.
you tie him to the chair. You're pretty confident he's restrained there.
Throw some water on him.
Yep.
Wake him up.
Okay. He does.
Yeah, I was singing that along.
He does wake, and you can see he sort of takes a minute.
Go on, do it.
Oh, why?
Sorry about your head.
Here's some aspirin. Oh wait, it doesn't exist.
I assumed you'd take more of a hit than that, to be honest. Most people don't go down from one swing.
That doesn't say much about your abilities.
Do you make a habit of jumping people in the middle of the night?
Do you make a habit
They're
of
breaking the
stealing
law.
food?
I know how this looks, but
But
you don't quite understand.
Well,
Go ahead.
make us understand.
Scott pulls his
Make me understand with your mouth.
So his character
I just
actually say
spit
that?
on it.
Um,
We'll lube him up.
I actually do that.
what?
I spit in his face.
Oh, he's probably like got
That's a
something.
little bit unnecessary.
So he's restrained in a chair, being spat on.
Did he actually say the?
No, that was clearly a different accent. I'm the only.
That's double standards.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one at this table. Why would he say that?
I don't know. What would I
Why
say
would we
if
say
we
half the
killed
shit we say?
You guys are talking about relevant things. That's the problem.
Got it.
Did you spit on him?
No, I
Jesus.
didn't spit on him.
He
If I-
retracts his spit.
If I say, "Oh shit, the camera fell over," you don't assume the fucking NPC said that, do you?
Oh,
You
wow.
fucking lunatics.
Maybe it was videoing the place.
Right, moving on.
Continuing.
He says, "Yeah, okay, I get it.
Cough it up.
You turn up in town, you hear food's going missing, and you just assume somebody's stealing it for their own good, right? Definitely couldn't be somebody doing the right thing to help the town.
Well, go on.
Well, the orphans aren't eaten because of
No,
that.
I reckon he's giving food for protection.
There's plenty of food for the orphans. The old lady doesn't take her share. That's why they're not eating. It's got nothing to do with the food that's available. Andros makes sure that there's plenty of food for the orphans."
Continue. Or I'll fucking smash you, mate.
I just look at him and go, you really don't have much of a choice here. You're pretty restrained.
Yeah.
No.
His eyes like go wide. He's like,
There is no need to burn.
if you kill me, then everyone in this town dies.
Well,
Tell us
that's
why.
a little unfortunate.
You gotta tell us now.
Does it have anything to do with
Are
the
you
body
giving-
trading company?
He's like,
Everything should be a conspiracy.
he's like the deal. What? No.
Are you giving food for protection?
Okay.
Does this city
I don't know how to explain this, where it's gonna make sense and you're gonna believe me.
Try your best.
Oh,
We're all fucking dirty. Oh, you got zone of truth. Yeah.
Let me cut to the main issue here then, okay?
Enlighten us.
There are a pack of
jackals?
You
Ban-
fucking werewolf.
bandits. They're animals though. They're not human bandits. They're animal.
Are they
jackals
jackals by any chance?
They're dog creatures. They speak, but
Kobolds.
Jackals.
they're not far from here. Back through the forest to the east a little. And look,
Knolls.
you probably aren't aware of this because you've only been here for 2 fucking minutes. I'm one of the hunters here. I provide the fucking food. You lunatics.
Why do you have to steal it?
Because
Why
I'm
don't you
giving
just
it to
not-
them so they don't come and murder everyone in the fucking
I understand
town.
that, but why don't you just not give it here in the first place? Keep it for you and then...
Because I don't get enough. I'd be out there for 12 hours a day trying to hunt enough food to keep them happy. But combined, we provide enough food that I can skim it off and keep them happy.
So what you're saying...
Where'd you get the key from?
Yeah, good question, actually.
It's not hard. I've been here longer than Andros does. He thinks there's only one key for the lock.
What
There's
a
always
dickhead.
been 2.
Plus, I can't imagine it's that hard to just break in anyway.
Well, you did it with the key.
Even
So
without
what you're
key.
saying is that if we go kill these guys, you'll stop stealing the food.
Yeah, that would solve it.
There we go.
How many are there?
Alright, now, where is your house?
Put us in a crate.
Why?
And then
Because we're
deliver
gonna let you go for today, and then if you keep stealing food, we're gonna turn you in. But we're also gonna go kill the people in the meantime.
Yeah, by the people in the orphanage.
No.
Yeah, but
Well,
oh,
okay.
why haven't you told anyone else about this?
Have you seen the people in this town?
but
They'll
pussies.
they'll go about their business like everything's peachy and don't have to worry about anything because people provide their food for them and they'll get to live their happy life and wonder why nobody ever attacks us. And it's because I'm the only one out there doing anything about it. That's why
So why do you live here then?
I've always lived here. Why wouldn't I?
When you move.
Why would I leave my home? It's been fine up until recently.
But when you run out of food, you're gonna die.
I mean, we haven't run out of food yet.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
that's kind of true for everywhere though, right?
Don't you think they're gonna be
Yeah,
getting
the food.
Yeah,
getting
they don't
more
have
greedy?
stocks to give. They're gonna die. Why?
If you don't have stuff to eat, you're gonna
die.
Well, that's something to deal with
They're gonna
if
have
and
enough.
when
They're
it
gonna eat
happens.
before they
It's-
give it to them.
This has been going on for weeks. If it got worse in the future, I guess we'd do something different. But for now, this has been a solution.
A band-aid
Let's
solution.
go kill.
In case you haven't noticed, there's no guards here. I'd go to the guards if we had some. There isn't. There's no army left to send out to slay them. There's no adventurers that come by here. This place is a shit. Yes, I'm aware you're here now. Thank you.
Now that you say it, I was sent by the gods.
Very good. I'm sure you were. Just like I was sent from
Da.
the.
Deception.
It's gonna work one
It's
day.
not gonna-
18.
Yeah, I rolled a natural 20, so.
Alright.
Why didn't you just
Two
open with that?
I want to let you cockily say 18.
The one day you fuck up, though. It's a matter of chance.
And it seems now that once in a blue moon,
Oh, I've been sent by the gods.
there are adventurers here, and what do you know? They're happy to oblige and take care of the town. Aren't you just the heroes we all need?
God, no.
I'm gonna about to kill this motherfucker.
More of a hero than you
I
are.
don't really feel like he's a threat, so I'm just gonna unbind him.
Oh, you knocked him out.
Don't
one face.
associate me with the
That's
word
what I mean.
hero.
Just untie him. You're not a threat to us, so it's fine.
Where were you
No,
gonna?
I know. I'm not even armed.
Where were you gonna drop the food off? The bar?
Not anymore. Cut his arms off.
He goes, I take it to. I mean, they have a cave not far from here. I take it nearby and I leave it.
Where's the cave?
To the east. It's a cave. It's not exactly. There's no fucking road going to it.
Are you about to take a great meal?
Well, do you want to take us?
No, I came and broke in just to see what was in here.
Alright, so we were told that we could have payment.
Of course, I'm taking a crate.
Well, we,
Take it. We'll go. Wait
Yeah.
for him to take it. Follow him in. Murder the lot. Come back. Murder not. And then we'll be on our way.
and we were promised one crate for payment for this.
No.
So- He said that we could eat from one.
he said.
He said we could have one crate. So if we just
surely we've already eaten some from them.
Well, we've been outside.
You've been out. You've been staking for like 6 hours.
no, we probably wouldn't have eaten the whole crate, right?
He meant like one of the small
Oh,
crates,
okay.
like the
Alright. Take it.
Strat and I at you.
An entire warehouse.
what?
Why do we?
What?
No, we should.
What did you just say? I don't know.
What
If,
did you
I
say?
have no idea what you just said.
Just right in by you.
Oh,
No, because there might be more.
I didn't realise it was hard to
Yeah, but then we
yeah, I had no
Sorry.
idea what you said.
Or we could just follow them into their cave and make sure that we know they're all there.
Yeah, but then we can just go in the cave after. I can get the jump on instead of following them into a cave. Cool.
Cool.
Wait,
Oh,
wait, what?
Okay, I guess. Get the door.
Is that okay?
Goes and
You're
takes.
glad that you've done this.
He's like, you realize I'm doing this to keep the townspeople alive, and you're now offering to take care of the problem permanently. I applied some triage and stopped the problem, and now you've come along to stitch the wound and close it properly, right?
Yes.
I don't understand why you think I don't want this to happen.
Maybe you're one of the monsters.
That's certainly what it sounds like you're saying.
No, you just could eat to something else. It's fine. We'll tell you about it when we're done.
Maybe they're
Open the door, please.
very
You do. Like, no, you fucking idiot! What I mean? Are you fucking daft? Do we run now or do we?
No, it's fine. It's fine. We'll just explain to him what's going on, and it'll all work out.
Oh.
Everyone in the town is gonna come out. As he's saying
you
this,
should have
like,
then. We'll take it from here. Run.
But then who's gonna get the?
That's fine. We'll meet you in the morning.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What?
he's like, okay, and just takes off. Like, he leaves the crate behind. He just shoots out the door and around to the left, like down the back. He just takes off.
We almost caught them. Oh no, they got away.
So within like 30 seconds of him running out, about 6 people like immediately gather to the door, and you can see there's people coming across
Nothing
with
to see here.
torches
We
there
were
as well.
hired to protect this place, and I fucked up and opened the door. I just got back to bed. Forgot about the bell.
What? It's them. They're stealing the food.
We're
You can like hear
We've
whispers
been in
between
town
them.
for one day. It's not us.
They're stealing the food. You hear like as these whispers sort of congregate amongst them, more like they start to get a little bit more like angry, and a couple of them now have torches, and they're like, You're stealing the fucking food!
We've been here for 1 day. It's not us.
Your magic.
Is
Yes.
Andros there?
He's you can see him like coming across the way.
Andros, we fucked up and opened the door. Can you tell everyone it's fine?
So
I'm good.
Andros comes over and he's like,
What food?
Andros comes over and he's like, the fuck is going on?
It's fine. There's dog people. We're gonna go kill them. You'll get your food back. Just tell them it
The
wasn't us.
fuck are you stealing the food?
We're not stealing the food. There's dog people. We're gonna go kill
The others
them. Just
are
tell them
like,
it wasn't us.
as you're trying to like get this across, there's like 12 people between you and Andros, and he's like, these people are just like, fucking tie him up, they're burning the food, they're taking our fucking food.
Will you just listen to me? It's not us. We've been here for 1 day.
Did you tell us that you could use Zone of Truth before?
What?
Did you actually say that out loud?
No, yeah, I can do
Did you tell us that?
it. No.
Alright, I'm gonna cast Thaumaturgy.
What the fuck
Yeah.
is happening? What are you doing? What are you
Yeah, you
doing?
can do like my illusions and change like the colours of candles and
What are you
Shit like
doing
that.
with it?
Make a breeze.
Your voice booms up to 3 times as loud as normal for 1 minute.
Okay.
Nice.
No,
You don't need to shout.
I was like, is anybody gonna pick me up on this? Because I'll fucking scream.
Yeah, I realised who I'm fucking talking to.
I shouldn't have given you the time to think about it. I should have just gone ham. I'm just going.
Okay, what are you saying?
Don't.
To watch as these like dozen people in front of you and you guys suddenly just like get punched by this like 300 decibel,
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Set this up.
and they all just like recoil. A couple of them like fall over and like scramble to their feet and sort of stand back and like look around, panic.
Lasts for a minute.
Yeah, it's just dead silent now. Like
I pointed at the
everything has gone silent.
Like the dude that were in the warehouse when I forgot his name.
Andros.
Yeah, and I say, stop bullshitting and tell the truth.
He didn't say anything, did he? Did he say that we were stealing food?
Yeah.
Did you? Okay, well, everyone knows now that the adventurers, the mighty heroes, are here to stop people stealing our food. It could be. I'm not pointing fingers.
Don't point fingers.
Do you know who stole the fucking food, or are you just waking everybody up so we
Yes
can just
and
make it
no.
one big public affair now?
Now, I don't want to get the town alarmed, so if you just come here and we can tell you quietly, it's fine.
I think they're already fucking
no,
alarmed.
that's fine. I'm gonna leave it up to you to tell them, but I don't want to tell them the bad news.
This all could have been simply avoided. I wonder how we didn't have to do all this.
So now you can hear like whispers amongst the crowd, and they're going, "Is it Andrew stealing the food? It's him, isn't it?"
No!
Jackals.
Go on.
Like you just hear like, I fucking knew it was him, that rat bastard.
It's not him. Why would he?
Nobody, like, anybody who was like slightly paying attention to you, like with that, is just like, oh my god.
When we killed the jackals and we come back and no more food gets stolen, it was the jackals.
He's like, it's not fucking me. I will explain in the morning. All of your food will be here, and I'll explain. Just go to bed,
Where did Olmec go?
and I will
Fuck knows.
try. You can see he's like come back around. You can see him like he's not come over, but he's like out in the crowd, sort of like trying to like blend the best he can. But Hendros is like, I will explain in the morning. It's fine. And you can see that they all sort of like reluctantly agree and start heading back. But Andros like turns around, like watches them leave. And he's like, "What the fuck?
We need your best hunter.
Alright, so they're dog people, and they want to attack the city. So the food's being sold to feed the dog people.
Maybe that's why shit, because he doesn't have a sword.
So you do know who's stealing the food?"
Yes and no. We'll tell you after we kill the dog people. We need to steal one. We
The
need.
fuck are these dog people?
I don't know.
Jackals!
I asked you to find out who was stealing the food
Yes, and they're stealing it
without alerting the whole fucking town, and now you're ringing the bell at this hour in the morning, and
That's
everyone's...
100% him.
Oh, we thought the bell meant food was coming.
You realise everyone is gonna think that I'm the one taking their fucking food and I'm gonna get strung up.
Just
now,
tell them, why the fuck would you hire us to figure it out if it were you?
they don't know that I hired you, and now they've found out like this, which looks shady as fuck, and they're not gonna fucking believe me in the morning, are they? They're gonna come out with their fucking torches and their fucking ropes, and they're gonna fucking hang me up from the top of this fucking barn.
Get us your best hunter.
It's fine. We'll take one crate for tonight, and then no more food will be gone. We need to feed we need to lure the jackals. We'll kill them. We'll bring the food back.
You know what? Fine, you fucking take the food. Fucking take it all if you want. I don't care. I'm probably gonna have to leave town. So, thank you, fine adventurers. You've been so fucking helpful. And he leaves. He just fucking walks off.
Don't forget to thank the gods.
Oh,
He just like heads back to his house, just like.
You fucked that up.
Do you want to
Massive.
start our own D&D campaign?
You can see there's still like people have sort of like gone back to their houses, but you can see there's still like a couple of groups of people that are still like whispering between themselves, and they're like watching as he like walks back across to his house.
If I was actually lawful good, I would have left you guys a long time.
Alright, well, I think with that,
We probably would have got to the fucking jackals if it wasn't for this.
we're a little bit
Don't
over.
open the door.
We're a little bit over time, so I guess we will wrap up there. Good fucking grief.
That was a session.
And a half.
Amazing. Well, that is this week's D&D. Jesus Christ.
Enjoy.
It's a whole lot of shouting. Anyway, so next week when we come back, we will pick up from here, and
Tuesday.
yeah, I'll come to that. But we'll pick up from here, and we will see how yous go about dealing with the situation and unfucking the situation that you've got Andros into, if you want to.
No.
So,
You can do that.
so next week,
Fuck the situation.
That's all you.
You just fucked it up.
You're the lawful good one.
so next week, a couple of people are away, so we may.
Oh yeah, because that's so much fucking better than a hockey meeting.
Is that why you're away?
Yeah.
You fuck.
I'm vice president, mate. What are you vice president of?
Fucking this
Dick.
channel?
The vice president of your own channel.
Yeah.
How did you fuck that up?
Wait,
Because
who's the president then?
I'm fucking.
I'm the president. Not my
I really wanted to get in before that took off, but I was gonna say, mate, I'm fucking president, I'm fucking vice president, I'm fucking CEO, but no, it got away from me before I could recover, so feels bad. Anyway, what are we talking about? So yeah, we might reschedule and do Tuesday next week, which means rescheduling Diablo.
Apparently it's not scheduled.
Yeah, because so we're all away till Monday, and then Tuesday. Yeah, we'll sort something out, but D&D next week might be Tuesday.
It's the schedule we don't take.
There's only 2 people involved in that schedule, Tim. It's you and me.
I wasn't told it was I only play just like when I got spare time, and literally like Tuesdays just.
I'm fucking done. Okay.
You're stepping away from your vice presidency.
Can I be vice president of the Rat Project?
I'm done. That's it. We're done. I'm gonna go murder everyone.
I can't make it 2 weeks' time. I've got to a rap project.
It's not even that funny. Okay. Let me wrap up and then we can go fucking have a street fight. So, as always, thank you for watching. If you want to catch VODs and that, you could do that with our YouTube channel, which is linked down below. There's some other stuff on there. Coming up is some more Magic the Gathering stuff on that channel, not now. Reruns Sunday, streams every other night. Otherwise, that's about it. Like I said at the start, we do have a brand new Instagram account that you can check out, which is just the Rat Project, for some cool gaming related stuff, especially with PAX this weekend. I'm going to be spamming some PAX stuff on there, so you can check that out. Otherwise, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thank you for the follows and that. And hopefully between now and next week I'll fix this fucking camera because A, I'm like sitting in the bottom half of it, and B, it's laggy as shit. Anyway. I just know... Oh no, it's fine. Anyway. Okay, cool. I think I'm done.
No?
Is everybody else done?
Did you remember any of that stuff you were going to say at the start of the show?
The stuff that I did manage to get out in snippets between your bullshit? Yeah, I did. Thank you. Okay.
You can't say that to the Vice President.
We're done. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.